धिन धागे न तिनक 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 धिन.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Morid and porridge. Kids get their money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got the goods. Good of them assets, good of my bag. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a blast from the past. We gonna smash now. Be prepared to hit the gas, yeah.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel.
Try.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the high, yeah. Sharing no haka from Virginia. Yeah.
I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I passed the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel.
Try.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the high, yeah.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy back again with the news. And we're getting prepared for Sunday service today. Got a great lecture coming your way. Anglo-Saxon Saxon connection to America. We got our guests have some history pulling up. It's going to be a good one. Before we get into it, though, we got to start out with the news. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. From the time of us doing this, we've been learning a lot about our people. No matter what your ideology is, we labeled as the Black Americans have a unique experience, and a lot of the things that we are faced with, we can all relate to. And it's a certain, there's a couple of topics that when we talk about get real taboo, and it's always interesting, if you will say, the type of feedback that we get from our peers. So right now, couple of days, I just made a video. I'm gonna play it here in a second so we can all be on the same page. So basically, Trump and the Ford CEO basically came out and said the same thing, which is there is a lack of American skilled workers, okay? Whether that be a physical skilled trade or a mental skilled trade like engineering, STEM, healthcare, et cetera, right? And a lot of our people is up in arms about this as if it's not just a fact, and I don't understand it. And this is something that we can 100% control in this day and age. So let me play the video that got folks in the tizzy, and then we're going to kind of break it down and get to why this matters, because we can't just only talk about the history. We got to understand the politics and the finance, because they are all together. This is what we are trying to, the message we are trying to nail home. So check this out. Let's play the video real quick. And we're gonna discuss a few things. Hold on. So, we cover way more than just the history and the politics. We got to talk about finances and business and everything in totality that make this world go round, right? So Trump came out, and it's a lot of press being talked about how he said there's not enough skilled workers in America, right? with the whole HB1 visa. So Ford CEO, he coming to say pretty much the same thing, which is he got 5,000 jobs he can't fill for mechanics that's paying over 120,000 because it's not enough skilled workers. And he's saying that this country is in trouble, right? So I don't know why people get so offended by the truth. This is not saying that the quality of people in America is not good. It's saying that the available skill set that they need, or for people that are actually interested in have the skills, is low. And if you take your feelings out of it and just look around you, you will see this to be true. Okay. We have a lot of having a trade, especially in the Black community. It used to be a time where having a trade was looked at as an honorable thing. Everybody in the Black community had trades. You had folks who were whole crackheads that could build your house, fix your car, the whole nine. They had skills to keep money coming in. Somewhere along the way, we started looking down on that. Maybe when the whole being a boss or the entrepreneur wave came through the community, right? Not wanting to work for nobody, whatever you want to call it. But we done seen a couple of decades of that now, and it's clearly not working because the degrees, let's say you went to college, in the Black community, the numbers say majority of Black people that go to college, if they graduate, it's going to be a liberal arts degree. Now, this is not the totality. I know y'all like to argue. This is by the numbers. What are the majority of the type of degrees attained? Okay. And it just say that we ain't high in STEM and healthcare. The ones that actually translate to real money with that degree. All right. And then let's not get to the fact that having a trade was looked at as something that was less than, which is crazy because it's people with trades that's making real money out here, and they can easily turn their trade into a business after they've gotten their experience. So I'm just trying to figure out, what y'all think? Because what I done seen, I haven't seen a lot of Americans, period, but definitely not Black Americans trying to excel and create businesses within these trades that could make way more money than opening up another hookah lounge, you feel me, or another food truck. This is no diss to them. This is just a fact because everything ain't for everybody. If it's not your passion, you shouldn't be doing it. Go and get you a trade, bro. So, a lot of people shout out to the community. A lot of people was chiming in, telling their experience, had folks disagreeing. But the number one thing that always strikes me is the victim mentality. Like, bro, at the end of the day, where we are, I don't care what your ideology is and what you believe or what you identify as. If you want to not even just thrive, but survive in America, you have to participate in capitalism. I don't care what these people telling you, the whole socialist idea and the way they're trying to proposition to Black people for us to want to hop into that is really not to our benefit. It will make us a permanent underclass. And when we know our history and know this is our land, that's really a disservice to our ancestors. You feel what I'm saying? It just don't make no sense. So we offer solutions here too, trying to give you the game and talk about what's real. Right now, we're going through a shift in America where a lot of the degrees of past can't necessarily help you at this moment, especially if you don't know how to market yourself effectively and really just know how to switch lanes, because maybe that degree field that you pursue may not work in today's America, but you can use that to pivot to something else. It just is what it is. There's always a way. That's basically what I'm getting to. So they broke this down. They came out. They was mad at Trump. They was mad at the Ford CEO for saying something that's true, even though the stats bear a whole different. It literally paints the picture. And this ain't just a Black thing. We just relating it to us because it's our community. This is an American problem, which is the reason why a lot of these industries have foreign people inside and even dominating them right here in America. So I know a lot of people, the first thing they point out is, when we talk about the wealth gap, because I read this report from NCRC. They did an updated racial wealth gap, and the numbers for us continue to go down. And we are always worried about superficial things that really don't affect us every day, although this does. So you'll have people that'll bring up, well, what about Houston? What about Atlanta? What about DC? These places that's supposed to be Black American strongholds, right? Let me show you the whole myth. Somebody broke down the Black Mecca myth in Atlanta, and I'm gonna play this for me. Y'all tell me what y'all think.
It's always interesting too, because people talk about, Atlanta specifically is the Black Mecca and culture and all these opportunities. But yeah, when you kind of start to peel the thing back a little bit and ask yourself some hard questions like, okay, who actually owns what out here? And, who's actually building, who's actually in control? Where's the actual money coming from? Like, those answers aren't always the answers people want to see.
I don't want this to sound sad, but I think it's just a reality. So our new location, you can see the entire city from Buckhead all the way through downtown and beyond. And when I look at that skyline and the community that I serve the most, I'm focused on Black folks. Nobody Black owns most or any of that skyline. So here we are, right, in a culture capital, in what is seen as a Black Mecca. But if they just look at the dirt, right, like we're not owning much of any of the dirt, right? And we can do that same sort of analysis across category, and that is what makes this moment scary. So no, we're not any less creative than we've ever been, but there's being creative, and then there's the business of creativity, right? And unfortunately here, those checks aren't the same. I mean, we have a location in LA. It's obvious, right, when someone is thinking about doing even an event in Atlanta, you get an Atlanta budget, which is very different than an LA budget, despite talking to very similar audiences, right? So like the business of how the city moves right now, we've got to continue to shine a spotlight on that. A lot of our creatives are more capable, producing, I would argue, the best stuff that you're going to find. The cash that's in the city tied to that doesn't match at all.
So basically what he's getting at is, and I can vouch for this to be true, right? Being that I've been all up and through Atlanta doing business, leisure, whatever the case may be. Lived in Georgia over a decade. And what I've seen is you got a lot of Black people. Some of those doing very well, some doing upper middle class. You got a lot of poor as well. But the one thing you see in common is the ownership is really just Black face. It's not really real representation. It's not real power. And even a lot of the bigger business men and women that are Black ain't from America. So this is the part we don't like to talk about. So remember I said I was reading this report. It was Spark This, and they basically said that the wealth gap from 1992 to 2022 has been pretty consistent. And the biggest things they show is median wealth for white people is around 280,000, and for Black people is around 44,000. And a lot of it had a lot of similar characteristics for the people, the main people, the racial classes that were on the lower end. It was tied to property ownership, lack of liquid assets. All right, the degrees were different. So, for example, we got a lot of people our people have been marketed these liberal ideas, right? So they go to school and get these liberal arts degrees. The problem with that is these liberal arts degrees are not sought after for high-paying careers. So then you also have another sector of us, especially in the indigenous or just a conscious community. They feel like if they work for somebody, you working for the man, you working for a part of the system. So they may want to only choose entrepreneurship. Now, don't get it twisted. Very big fan of autonomy, obviously, and entrepreneurship is part of that. But when you've actually been on that journey, you know it's not as easy as it's cut out to be, because what if you are able to produce money for your business, but that's the only money that you're bringing in, meaning your life expenses got to be paid out of that money too. You aren't truly reinvesting in the business to be able to scale and grow. You really just hustling. You don't have a scalable business model, but you can't tell people that because it's like you attacking them. But when you really been in the real world and you see this, it's very obvious. So using Atlanta once again for an example, majority of the businesses that you see are similar. You got a lot of lounges, right? You got a lot of places like that appeal to entertainment, but it's only so much people can be entertained for everybody to be successful, even in a place like Atlanta. We need more of the Black construction companies, electrical companies, hospitals, banks. You see what I'm saying? Stuff that's not the stuff that you post on social media that may get a lot of fanfare, but it's very important to sustaining yourself and actually really getting money. That's the crazy part. It's not like these trades and businesses are on the low end when it comes to money. But the problem is you're not going to build something like that fast. You may not even build it to be highly successful within your generation. But are you willing to take the sacrifice to set this up? This is what we don't be wanting to talk about, right? But the numbers are showing that we getting our ass kicked, and we really just around here playing, everybody hypothesizing and talk about feelings, but no real strategy. So I want to talk about this last video real quick, right? Because it speaks to this exact point. So Tabitha Brown came out a little while ago, and a lot of the Black community was mad at her because she was saying some of y'all need to shut your business down to go get a job, but not just any job, a highly skilled job that affords you enough money to pay for your responsibilities and then invest in a business without having to take money from you. So you're able to get the business capital, the business funding, because you need good credit. You can't have good credit when your finances ain't in order. It's just common sense, right? So check this video out from this lady named Sierra Nicole. She broke this down, and she's a certified in what she's saying. But I want you to hear her perspective on this because I feel like it's pretty good. Check this out.
At Tabitha Brown saying that entrepreneurs need to go get a job, then you're probably going to hate to what I have to say, because she is 100% correct. Most entrepreneurs right now that are full-time entrepreneurs need to go get a job, period. I know more people that work a traditional 9-to-5 that make more money than your average entrepreneur that you know. And that's because entrepreneurship, number one, like everybody says, is not for everybody, of course. Number two, being successful in entrepreneurship, having your own business, is not an overnight thing. Having a successful business, keyword on business, takes time to build. You still have to have income to invest into your business, to pay your bills, to do all the things. So yes, if you are not making any money in your business right now, the best thing that you can probably do for yourself and your brand is to go find a way to have a stream of income that is stable, so that now you can actually not be so stressed about life and have the creativity that you need in order to grow your business. Because there is no way that you can operate at the level that you truly need to operate in within your business and to actually be successful if you are stressed and stuck in survival mode. It's just not feasible. That's why a lot of people in the entrepreneurship space will resort to scamming, or they will have just terrible products and services, terrible customer service, because they are stressed, because they don't have proper business knowledge. They're just trying to find any and every way in order to make a dollar. So I agree. A lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs need to go back to the drawing board, go get a job, bring some income in, go back to school, get a degree, a certificate, something, some credentials, some type of formal education. And then now you can build your business, and now you have the resources, and now you're in the right mental and headspace so that you can actually build something that is sustainable. You can absolutely build a hustle with having no income, with being at zero. It's going to be very hard for you to build a true business being at zero. But this is why I don't like to give advice to people, because people do not want to actually take advice that they actually need. They just want advice that they want to hear. They wanted Tabitha Brown to come on here and say, oh, well, let me tell you all how to grow your business. Guess what? If she comes on here and tells you how to execute your business so you can be super successful in it, guess what? It's probably going to require some capital. That's just life. She's telling you right now, you're not making enough. You can't pay the bills. You're borrowing money from people. Go get a job.
And so that's where it comes from in the conscious community. Because, there's a lot of people that I've seen within this conscious community, irrespective of the ideology, all right, who feel like because they know what they know now, there's no need to do anything else. Life is just supposed to change because they know they're right. They know they've been mistreated. They can prove it through the history. And you ain't wrong. We sympathize with that. However, the reality of that is what you going to do about it with just your thoughts. You got to put some intent behind it. You got to get yourself and your family in order to be able to pass this information down. And we all owe a responsibility in there. It ain't just the Autonomous Party or any of the other creators that are out here putting out this information. We all have to do something with it, and that just take economics in the world that we living in. But I'm just your homeboy with the news, also with the game. So you take that, you do what you will. You need to get some type of skill trade, whether with your hands or with your mind, because in this new version of America, this marketing that they've given to us is outdated. So if you still believe in the American dream the old-fashioned way, you got another thing coming. And if you know, like I know, and the way in which this system can be very cruel, I would be betting on the odds that you need to get your shit together. Hey, but with that, we're going to get ready for the lecture, all right? The Anglo-Saxon connection to America is going to be beautiful. We already got Travis, a.k.a. Handsome History in the back. You know, Mac back there in the studio. So we're going to go to the Gullah Man's Choir real quick, right? Hear a little selection, and we're going to come back and we're going to get to it. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Hit that like button on your way in. Go ahead and share it with your friends. Everybody get settled, and we about to get to it, man. So after the choir, we'll be back, and we're going to get to the lecture. All right.
Yeah, purpose got a price. Ain't no way around it.
We gotta fund the vision.
Fund the vision.
Run the vision.
Fund the vision. Dreams don't move till the people grounded.
Fund the vision. Fund the vision.
They say love your people, but love needs tools. Power needs resources. That's the first rule. We ain't chasing silver, we chasing solutions. We need capital to break these old institutions.
Break those chains.
Break those chains.
Can't build freedom empty-handed. No, no, no. Every dream needs something landed. Let it grow. Let it grow.
We need money for the mission.
Money for the mission.
Hope don't grow without a little provision. Money for the mission.
Money for the mission. Hearts stay pure while the grind stay driven.
For the mission. Hope don't grow without a little provision. Money for the mission.
Money for the mission.
We pray hard on Sunday, but Monday's real. Bills hit deeper when you're fighting to heal. If the system is crooked, we still gotta move. Stack for the fam, keep the block improved.
Keep the block improved.
Yeah.
Keep the block improved.
Oh, yeah.
Block improved.
Yes. Faith is fire, but the work needs wood. Purpose grows strong when the funding's good. We raise the money
For the generation.
we build the budget.
For the restoration.
We plan together.
No tribe left behind.
We feed the future.
The liberated mind.
Now we need money for the mission.
Money for the mission.
Freedom takes funding and strategic position. We need money for the mission.
Money for the mission. Every dollar righteous, every plan with wisdom. Money for the mission. We build for the children. We build for the kingdom. Money for the mission. Money Open your eyes, open your eyes.
They moved our names through the shadow, hiding lines that look like us. Switch the story, change the colors, but the truth don't turn to dust.
Turn to dust.
We try to tell you,
Try to tell you,
try to tell you,
try to
the
tell you.
light gon' break through every lie they sell you. We try to tell you,
Try to tell you,
try to tell you,
try to tell you.
truth got a rhythm, it'll always compel you.
They painted over our footprints, but the ground still feel our way. Every road they tried to cover still leads right back to our gate. Leads back to our gate. Shake off the dust, let the real thing breathe. History hums like a song in the tree. When they felt the story, we felt the bend. When our faces speed up the trend. When they changed our title, we knew the end. Now truth come call. Begin again.
Some folks wake up in a moment, some take time to see the signs, but the truth keeps singing softly till it rises in your mind.
Rises in your mind, rises in your mind.
We try to tell you,
Try to tell,
truth in the marrow,
try to tell,
truth in the bell tone. We try to tell you, it was in your hands, it was in your bones. We try to tell you,
try to tell you,
try to tell you.
try to tell you.
Yeah, we about to get into it, man. Y'all show some love to the Gullah Man's Choir in the chat. It's time to get to the show, y'all. All right, so we got Mac already backstage. Let me go ahead and bring him up. Let's get to it. Mac.
Yo, Mike
Live
check.
from the studio. Yes, sir. You good?
All right, bet money. Hey, man, Gullah Mass Choir, man, you know, keep it Gullah. It's all about redemption. Shout out to all my kinfolk outside, my Esther Lusty, all my Indigenous Black folk. You already know, to America, you know what it is. Salute to you. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, American Maroon, because if you want some Maroon shit, then we going to be kinfolk on another level. You know what I'm talking about?
Same type of time.
Yeah, we on the same time. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. You know what I'm saying? This Sunday service, you know what I mean? It's always the message before anything else, from recent time to history, you know what I'm saying, that we talk about. But this topic right here tonight is about getting some clarity. You know what I mean? I've heard black folks say white folk come from the stars and Andromedans. I've heard a man, you know,
a whole bunch of stuff.
it's like,
it's crazy.
You know what I mean? But we're focusing on like the Anglo-Saxon, and the reason why is because of Benjamin Franklin. You know what I mean? Lee Cummings, I got to give credit again. So when we was with him back in the day, you saw we brought him back this recently. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Lee. But he put us on a little, you know, deep dive to you know, cross check certain things as, you know, his series is put out. You know what I mean? And on our own level now, we're the Autonomous Party taking accountability. You know what I'm saying? To give some clarity to certain things, and certain guests and certain things we reach out to come on our platform are there to help us give that clarity and be able to move in a certain type of way to give people better, a self-educating, which is still tied to self-governing as a Maroon in America today, to understanding what really took place. You know what I'm saying? So tonight, Anglo-Saxons to America with our special guests, you know what I'm saying, is what we're going to go get into. Shout out to the party, Maranatha, by the way. Hey. I got a green right here with me, too. Look, I got a green right here with me.
Oh, my boy, hey, he done doubled up on them boys, bro. Yeah. All right. So look, we already got Travis in the back. Let's go ahead and bring him up, introduce him to the conversation, because let me show y'all how good we all work together. And Travis can vouch for this when we bring him up. So we just sent him the front of the people because he's a wealth of knowledge. We put ours together.
I'm losing you all of a sudden. What's going on here?
Yeah, okay, it wasn't me either. Can you hear me, Travis?
It went to all of us. I can hear y'all now.
I can hear everybody.
Sure.
Yeah, they tried to blink us out real quick, but we good.
All right, cool. Making sure it wasn't me. I was like, dang. All right. Oh, what's up, Travis, man? How you doing, man? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Been researching and been sort of retooling what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna kind of go forward with this business forensic history academy, where it's still focuses on a lot what I do in regards to the United States, but it also has a lot in there about how-tos and like training and lessons and how to read some of these books yourself and have enough of maybe a method or something so you can kind of should I say decipher or interpret maybe more accurately what you're looking at, because that's a lot of the challenge. And then it's going to also focus on the physical stuff. So if you're at a church somewhere and you see an interesting looking name on the stained glass window and doesn't seem to match up to the demographic of the area, and maybe it's on a hilltop and it's looking downhill, you start putting things together and go, hey, there's kind of a method to this once you on some of these things, because everything is always done in a franchise way. So once you kind of key in on how the franchises are organized, right, then you can spot them, so to speak. So, I'm simplifying it, but yeah, that's kind of a big picture what I'm kind of doing with this, so people can, teach a person how to fish.
I've been seeing you've been actively, so that's why I was already prepared. I definitely knew you wanted to speak to it, and for the people that already follow you on TikTok, they can come and check you out. I put the link here in the chat.
Yeah,
no problem. This is what we're here to do. We want to build and have. So you talked about franchises, right? Mm-hmm. So along with those franchises, it comes a lot of renaming and retooling of words, of ideologies, and that kind of brings us to the conversation. So Matt, what was your reasoning for wanting to tackle this for Sunday service today, bro?
All right. Well, I'll be honest with you, Travis. The two shows that we did with you this year before we started back, because when we reached out to you based off what you were putting out, dealing with the trust in America and the system of it, and obviously, Aboriginal side, you got clips. Everybody should know them clips if they don't know about Hampton history on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? You said something though personally about how you had, the Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Do you recall that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have it in my. I actually tie right to what's known as the House of Hanover. It's Hesse-Kassel, which is in the area called Saxony, which is actually in Germany, not in England. So this whole thing about Anglo-Saxon gets really twisted and fascinated and full of obfuscation and twisting for whatever the agenda is of the era. But yeah, there's that's up to me. This is the really hidden connection about really been heavily involved. I don't want to say in control, but one of the main trusts, one of the main groups or syndicate people, they're coming out of this electorate that got King George I. So that's what everybody knows. They think of King George as the King of Great Britain, but he's actually part of a contract called the Personal Union between England and Scotland at the time. They added Ireland later, and this electorate in the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah. And that's what we've been breaking down. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
He covered.
Hey, listen, this is fire there, right?
That's perfect.
No, you're on fire. You're on fire. We're on the same page now. That's fire emojis in the chat. Fire emojis in the chat.
That's what type of conversation is going to be. You already know.
We'll just start with that.
No, you came in. You actually. So this is why, again, when you said it to me, I was being genuine, and obviously, because of the narrative that you also push, and I've heard you say that people have a misconception of slavery is pushed on us indigenous or even those who came that didn't look like, that didn't look like white folk into this country, that all of them were all, coming from the same position in today's narrative of history given to us. But the Anglo-Saxon is not, just like other groups, is not coming into America as some elite situation if we understand the timeline of American history.
Right, absolutely.
All right, making sure I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? Making sure I ain't tripping. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is that's why I focus what I cover from basically the expulsion in the 1490s, late 1400s out of Iberia, because that's the group of corporations and trusts that get pushed out of continental Europe, and then they begin to foment all these wars, and they're known as the Huguenots, and eventually they're just the Protestants, right? Basically, but what gets lost in all that is there's like an early wave who's coming over here and doing the dirty work, and it's mostly those guys. But then there's like the money though is coming, and some of the manpower is already coming from King George. Like, so basically when King George, I'll just give you an example, like King George takes over, and within about a couple years of his office taking over, they renegotiate the 8 Lord Proprietor contract and landholdings, because they had done those deals with the Stuart family, the Stuart Royal Trust. Yeah. So now you have this new trust coming over from Germany and Saxony, Germany, and saying, oh, we're reorganizing. So from that moment on, you have to say, well, here's the beginning of the Saxon influence in it, but it's not coming, like you're saying, it's not coming in the form of settlers coming from Saxony. Not really. My family's actually a good example of that. That doesn't start till about 1750. And there's a reason for that. It's called the third. There's all these wars and blah, blah, blah. But so you got to account for the first 150 years, basically.
Right.
Yeah, it's big. It's big. But they're there. But it's more at the high level influence. But it's not the guys coming over that are dealing with the indigenous and doing all the dirty work. It's more the financial power behind it. And then, of course, who are the soldiers sent over in the revolution? Where are they coming from? And again, in the Civil War, where are they coming from? This exact region of Germany, Saxony.
All right, so Ben, I'm glad you said that. Well, he on fire right now. He on tour. Yeah, I'm alley-oop. So I want to make sure I say it, because I want to make sure you see the first page here. And what I did a research on, and I had to get chat to help me with certain parts for the timeline chronologically, so everybody can go, research along with us. And obviously after the show, all the notes and transcripts that I'm reading from will be on our Patreon, just to let y'all know, just to let y'all know with the video. So who the Anglo-Saxons were before Europe is what I want to bring out first, right? Because this word Europe is a new term that's tied to Rome, and you brought up Rome. You see what I'm saying? Like, the Anglo-Saxons didn't come up with the term Europe, nor a Germanic group of people outside of even Anglo-Saxons. This is a Roman term. You know what I'm saying? Now, funny enough, I researched, and this is what I found, and everybody, and Travis, obviously, anytime you hear something you don't agree with, you can tap in. You know what I'm saying? Anglo-Saxon, it says later combined the term in 800 CE, which is AD. You know what I'm saying? And this is the Angles, Angles, or in parentheses, Angli, which is going to be tied to the word England. You know what I'm saying? It's this in Peninsula, the word Jutland, Jutland. You know what I'm saying? Peninsula, which is going to be considered modern day Denmark / Germany. You know what I'm saying? This word comes from, you know what I mean? 15th century. You agree?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're, yeah, that's the, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it says, first known from Roman writers in the 1st, 2nd century, a maritime tribe is this group of people. You know what I'm saying? It's saying, and it's saying that the Saxons part, which is a different situation, but that comes together. I'm trying to make sure everybody understand this Anglo-Saxon term, so bear with me. Origin, Saxons, is tied to Lower Elbe region, northern Germany. You know what I'm saying? It says
lost it.
Seafaring and raiding Roman coast, which means that would give you an indication that these groups of people were not underneath Rome, or they're not the Roman people. You know what I'm saying? in the region that Rome is going into at that time. Now,
hey, can I just
Roman
stop
authors
support you
okay,
know what you're
yes.
saying? The Romans, remember, ask yourself this, right? The Romans weren't known as a dominant sea power. Matter of fact, when they invaded Britain, they went through the landway. So it has to open up the question, like, yeah, who are these Saxons coming from then, right? Like, right. So yeah, I mean, who is this dominant sea power that the Romans are calling, the others, the Saxons, the whatever, right? Yeah.
Right. See, this is what I want to make sure the Anglo-Saxon part gets right. Now,
Yeah.
But mixed frontier people. So this is what the Romans are calling these two groups that become later on known as the Anglo-Saxons.
Right.
A group that's also tied to the Anglo-Saxons. They get absorbed into the Anglo-Saxons are called the Jutes. Juttes. You know what I'm saying? Our Jute land. That's where we get the word Jute land from. Jutland. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Now, I'm gonna move forward. I want to make sure I put that in first. Now, how we move forward is Rome. Rome invited Germanic tribes, like those groups we just mentioned, into the empire. And it's saying the term is going to be called foederati. You know what I'm saying? Also, the term, and matter of fact, Monte, if you want to bring it up first and go back to the screen, is barbecue. Barbarian, barbaricum, however you pronounce the Latin term. Can you bring it up first? So everybody can just see it.
Well, isn't that where you get Barbarossa as one of the Frederick? Yeah, I mean, he's a Saxon Goth king, I think, eventually.
Right. Remember Conan the Barbarian?
Sorry. Yeah.
No. You on point? I mean, like Conan the Barbarian, Frederick, though, in hero history is going to correlate to this term that I found that I want to show everybody. That's the area. Y'all hear me, right? Make sure.
Yeah.
My bad, I muted myself. Hey, I'm gonna read it for you. It's a historical area beyond the frontiers of the Roman Empire, populated with what we perceived as barbarian peoples.
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you see a connection with, like, you got the pirates of Barbary and the Berbers over there? I'm just throwing that out there.
No, it makes sense because when anytime, like when you've researched, so when I was doing my research on where actually in Europe, because we definitely know that what we call white people now were in Europe, and we also know black people were there, and it wasn't this whole race idea as much, but there's definitely proof of the Baltic areas around in Europe is where they are claiming this is where the majority of white people, which was more of a mountainous, cavernous area. It was colder.
Right, colder.
And they were fleeing out of there to go to Western and Southern Europe. And it wasn't, they had kingdoms as well. But most of the people that were coming were not in power positions. They were getting forced migrated, just like what was happening to the Black Europeans.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. So we've been walking down this walk trying to put it all together because we have to be, there's so many theories that just sound crazy without just actually getting to the proof. What you got?
Okay, well, one that I used to think was crazy, but I've followed enough other guys and listened to them read some of the old books I really focused on is the idea of the Saxons coming as meaning the sons of Isaac. Isaac's sons. So it's like some of this to, I don't like to talk about the lost tribe, but I do like to say, but they could have been, exilarchs from, maybe they were Israel at one point, or but from that area, right? Is my point, because it gets to, everybody has they want to claim that or whatever. So I just want to say, and then it just, and I don't know how much, there's the stone in Great Britain, that they put the king's feet on, and there's the what's going on with the unicorn and the Scottish. So there are a lot of things where it's are these guys really a bunch of just white dudes coming from the icebergs, or what's really going on here? At the beginning, anyways. Yeah.
What I'm gonna say is what we come to find out because of Rome, and Rome's the referee. Rome will be the proof that in this region they call Europe, that later today people suspect that nothing but white people were from, is not the truth, because of the fact that Rome is showing you how there is other groups of people in this region they call Europe today, and how the people we call Germanic tribes, specifically, like not the ocean. You hear me? It's the geeks and liquor together with that.
There were like 200
I mean,
tribes.
that are already in that area. Okay, bet money. Y'all hear me clean? Make sure we.
Yeah, you good. You breaking up though, but when you come through, you
Alright,
clear.
man.
But yeah, you got a little choppy signal.
All right, so
It's a choppy.
mic check.
Yeah, we can hear you.
It got choppy. That's crazy work. So either way,
What?
400, so we can get, to move forward, so we can get. You hear me now? Make sure. All right.
Hold on.
400
Yeah.
CE is borders. I'm keeping Roman in this whole thing. That's tied to this word foederati. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get to these definitions early in the game so that y'all can get a little historical part on it. Monte, when you get a chance, bring up foederati. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where we at now. We're gonna walk up fast from now. You know what I'm saying? Foederati's next. As a definition for the name. Try to get some terms you can go research. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, it reminds me of the federal, like the federal government. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because the word actually Confederate, like, you know what I'm saying? Alliances with the actual Roman situation. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what this is a word right here. Everybody can go.
I'm
look
gonna read it. So it's a Latin term used to refer to non-Roman troops in the service of the Roman Empire, especially during the 4th and 5th centuries. This was not a technical term. In the literal meaning, those with whom a treaty has been made suggest a wide range of potential relationships covered, include mercenaries, allies, and equal partners. By the late 4th century, this term could also refer to an elite corps.
Right. Well, mercenary.
Go ahead.
Right.
Mercenary.
Hesse-Cassel, where the reason Great Britain wanted to unite with them is Britain had the navy, didn't have an army, and it didn't want a standing army in those islands. So they go get the biggest badass government of fighters in Europe at that time. And that's this. It's basically it's a military industrialized electorate, and they would sell their armies to the rest of the European kings to go fight the Turks. And the reason they got to become a Holy Roman Empire electorate is they lost 2 sons and sent tons of troops fighting the so-called Saracens and the Ottomans and all that in the 1500s. So here the Romans are 1,000 years earlier, calling these German types Confederati, mercenaries, guys that we pay to fight for us. Yeah. Still doing
that today. Exactly. Yeah. Like,
there you go. So these groups, right? So that's why we got that word there. Leave that word there for a second. The tribes that come out of these groups, foederati, is going to be Saxons, Suebi, Suebi, Alans, Alans, Vandals, Franks, and Goths. You heard me? Right. So all those groups are tied to this term and how those who allied with Rome at that time. And it will show how those groups is where that idea of being European and always, Rome reclothing, like these tribes got relocated. Put like that because of that term right there. That term and those groups were brought into Europe by Rome. You know what I'm saying? You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, make sure. Now, real quick, we got northern France, Belgium, and the Britain coast. This is also where the Rome's is saying that they placed Saxon mercenaries along these areas. This is between the 3rd and the 4th century. Right. Just giving y'all a quick rundown.
Yeah. But Mac,
the collapse of Rome,
who are they mercenarying against? What were the name of the people there the Saxons were invading on behalf of the Romans?
The Celtic groups.
The Picts.
You know what I'm saying?
Celts, Picts, PICTS.
Yeah, they will be in there.
Yeah, Britons.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are always described as swarthy and
correct.
They got the languages that look a lot like the languages back in America. There's a whole thing going on. So who's Rome really working for and going after? Is it the same guys are going after here in 1500? Yeah, it starts.
Yeah. Right. So Rome is bringing right. So Rome is bringing them in to these indigenous groups of people, along with other groups that migrated into the area we call Europe today, prior to these tribes that would be considered Anglo-Saxons being brought into that area by the Romans. If you're going to case it, and Rome's the referee. You know what I'm saying? Rome's the referee.
Like bringing in Native Americans to go after the indigenous, and then like mixing it all up over time, and then nobody knows where the hell they're really from. They did the same thing there. It's the same exact things going on.
It's the same blueprint.
Yeah.
It just progressed. They got better at it over time.
Yeah. And then you're calling yourself a Saxon a couple hundred years later, even though you used to be a Pict and they killed your
correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's how you phase out bloodlines in the true history, because you give new terms, and then these terms last for a couple hundred years and they're documented.
Right. And they it's the relabel game.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, can y'all hear me? I want to say this too.
Go ahead.
I don't want nobody.
Damn, as soon as he's gonna say it, then he broke out. They don't want me to get this out.
Mic check. Can you hear me?
Hold on. So you can hear me? Let me know you can hear me.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Those regions, I don't want to misconstrue it. That area would still be considered Europe back then in today's time, but it's just not the western area of the Isles. And you know what I mean? The west area into the Atlantic. You heard that right?
Toward the end, you broke up a little bit. You said the Western Isles into the Atlantic.
Yeah, I'm losing them too.
Hold on, let me send them something. When we get to cooking, then they want to start.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, actually, clear.
Yeah. All right, kids, I'm trying some different shit because that's crazy work, right?
Yeah, so, trying to lag on you. Go ahead.
What I was saying is, all right. So what I'm saying is that in the time, because that's a Roman term too. You who are outside of that as tribes are brought into this region that we call today these areas of still called Europe. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that that's said clear, because I want to just keep it moving. You know what I mean? Because did y'all hear that clearly?
Yeah. What they did is they brought people from outside to displace the indigenous. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And we're showing how far back this goes to build these franchises.
America wasn't their first rodeo.
Correct.
It was probably their last.
It was not.
It was the biggest.
This was the culmination. This was the culmination.
This allowed them to take over the world through America. What they built in America, what they took.
Agreed. I agree with that. I do believe that.
Mac, you can hear it? You still with us?
Is he trying out like a new mic or something?
Probably. Or trying to switch between different Wi-Fi networks.
Oh.
You know how it is when you live and then you start messing up on. Oh, he on the hold on.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, real quick, y'all. We're gonna do a quick commercial
break.
Mac, yeah, we're gonna run. Hey, I'm gonna run through something, Mac. Get yourself straight. We'll come right back.
Yo.
Start to feel alone. I just play your voice now, that I say before.
Trying to tune out when you say I know you love me, but if you just forget about us.
Check. What we look like, Mac?
Can't hear it.
Yo, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Travis, can you hear us?
Can't hear.
Mic check.
Check.
Mic check.
Hold on. Yeah, I can hear you, Matt. Travis, you can hear us?
I'm good.
Look like he got. Hold on. You can hear us, Travis?
Yes, sir.
There we go. It's all good. Hey, we doing this live, y'all. It is what it is.
Man, I tell you what, man. Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure when you do it
live.
A lot of pressure. We gonna rock and roll, bro. It's all good.
We are.
All right, Mac, when we go to the next slide, what we with?
Hey, man. Hey. All right, so I'm regathering myself. Can y'all hear me? Mic check out there. Y'all live with us out there in the audience and everything. Mic check. All right.
Everybody let us know.
All right, so let me find my place again real quick. That shit crazy work. I know a lot of y'all.
Because you sound good now.
I was like, because I was in the middle of my thought. All right, I'm trying to get out. Hey, I'm making no sense. Everything showing full bars.
Yeah, you sound good.
So we good? I'm gonna run.
Yeah, totally.
Bit money. All right, so basically after that, I'm trying. It's full.
Damn.
I'm sorry for the interruption because the running back and the notes will be, like I said, where they'll be at. We're gonna get to a point where basically these people are in a time frame that later comes into like, okay, I gotta skip up because I'm trying to move forward, right? Those groups that we were talking about that were already in that region, though before it broke up, we got people because of Rome. Again, Rome has a lot of people in this region, not just one group of people are in this region we call Europe today because of what Rome is doing. Rome's expansion of history, all right? And they exiled some people. We already talked to y'all about that and what time frames they went out. And then there's broke down that we call Germanic tribes, also tied to this term Anglo-Saxon, that are going out into these same regions in the same terms we showed you before it took place. But and when you go from a Roman standpoint, I'm gonna give you a person to research. His name is Tacitus. That's Tacitus. Tacitus. All right, got it great. Says Germanic tribes included darker, swarthy groups. All right? The Silurs, they're considered swarthy groups of people that's out there in that region. They're not tied to the Anglo-Saxons. You know what I'm saying? That's an example. Later medieval writers describe black or dark Saxons. So there's people being called Saxons, and they're also dark-skinned people in this region because of what's going on with Rome. So people can't mix that up either. That's why I got to be understood. Angles as well, right? There's dark-skinned people that's tied to being Angles that's in this region, but they're not originally the people that Rome brought in that took over what we call, from a Germanic standpoint, of being known today, as we call it, Anglo-Saxons in the time frame of Benjamin Franklin. That needs to be understood because people overlayer it and it's not understood in the layers of the history from a world point or to the time frame of when we're trying to get to in this conversation into America and obviously the colonies. So later, especially in Scotland, North England, and the border regions. You know what I'm saying? So the Iberia, North Africa, and Roman soldiers, all connection to this. Intermarried with Saxons, it's telling you when we did the walk down on this. And it's saying that Africans, Syrians, Judeans, Moorish people, Iberian, Illyrian people were obviously already in this region because of Britain, to be exact. Yeah.
Yep.
Was it clear?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can hear me? Yeah.
You heard
I can
that?
hear you. Yeah.
Mic check.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, you know what I'm saying?
You lagging, but I can hear you coming through.
Okay, Saracens. I want to make sure. Saracens, you know what I mean? Yes, yeah, I can. Saracens, you know what I mean? This term Saracens comes in at, and I know I wish it was clearer. I don't know why they're doing this to us tonight, but however, you know, why were the later Anglo-Saxons, you know what I mean? 9th century. Alfred the Great. We're gonna get to this America real quick. But in century AD, Alfred the Great, Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, and smaller tribes, it obviously came together underneath Alfred the Great in the research that. All right, giving you markers to go research off this build, right? All right, so this is where Rome naming influence really comes into play for the Germanic tribes that come into this area. This other that might not be considered a Caucasian. I'm pausing because I see it pausing here, so I was making sure. You know what I'm saying? So again, originally Europe proper is called Jew. All right, make sure that's clear. All right, and then after that, we get into, we can move forward. You know what I'm saying? That's the history of Anglo-Saxons in Britain, amongst other people who are not of their same, what we call today, white or black situation. But all these groups are in this area, and it's showing you how Rome brought.
So Mac having
people who heard.
Hey Mac, let me know when you can hear me. Let me know when it kick in.
I hear you. I hear you.
All right, so I'm a summarize this because they not letting you be great. It'll let you get off about half the sentence and then cut off the end. So I'm gonna make the connection for everybody because you went through a lot of work to make sure they understood this point. So I'm gonna use my Louisiana education and summarize this real quick. So basically, Saxon and Anglo-Saxon, this term, another franchise term, that the history is very complex behind this term. It's not what we know it as today, to where when you think Anglo-Saxon, you specifically think these are white people. All right, there was a history into how Rome created this conglomeration of different people that ended up taking on this term later to be used by only specific Europeans. All right, so it's important that you understand the history, because this is kind of what we've been showing in all these different bills, is that they use these terms and then provide a history behind it to match the narrative that they want to set. And we keep falling for this instead of actually reading the documents. What you think about that, Travis?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I've always believed this, because it takes a lot of you have to get such enough of experience looking at all of this to start to see these type of patterns. But
right,
yeah, I mean, guys, even the Romans and the Germans, many of the Roman emperors were from Germany. It's like it's just like me talking about how they would hostage the elite indigenous American Indians and then turn them, redeploy them in the next generation, and then by the third generation they're calling themselves Americans. They're Yankees, which comes from Yankees, which meant traitor, foreigner. So all you don't think the Germans had the same thing going on? Like there were the turncoat Germans and there were the not, and I'm not sure which, that's the stuff where, to your point, they start writing these history books with an agenda. And at some point, the agenda is, hey, we want everybody to think the Anglos and the Saxons are a bunch of pale-faced guys, and we're going to write it that. And I think that goes back to like 13. They've been doing that one a long time. But yeah, then it gets hard to understand like the details, like who were these different groups? What did they look like? Because then they just all get called, like Max said, they're just all relabeled Saxons, Angles, and Jutes. But underneath those three tribes might have been 100 different clans and stuff like that, and that's easily what's lost. It's really hard to penetrate it, I guess what I'm trying to say textually. I think we penetrate it with archaeology. I think that's where archaeology mismatches this written history, because the written history always has an agenda, so that's, I think, where we see they're trying to understand Stonehenge. The last thing they want to say, well, Stonehenge comes from the same civilization that was doing stuff over here in the Americas. That's the last thing they want. Right. So they got to try and figure out how to turn it into,
Correct.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. So Mac, whenever you back with it, just let me know, but I'm going to keep rolling. So it's interesting the fact that Matt brought up earlier, because he mentioned Benjamin Franklin, because we always reference that Observations of Mankind, where he talks about increasing basically Anglo-Saxons. And at this time, people think the timing of which the word is used matters. This is in the 1750s.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
You know what I mean? So now there's a new movement of people who believe that they are Saxons because of whatever their historical history is, and now they're in America. And so when they say this, it was later used to tie to the marketing strategy of white supremacy, right? To increase these numbers. And this wasn't a plan that was created by a conglomerate of white people who had a secret meeting and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. You know what I mean?
White people, yeah.
They had no idea.
We're the
exactly
doing them. Yeah. It's like, okay, right. No, I mean, listen, how many descendants of indigenous Americans by 1920 thought they, or, you know, sometime in that thought they were, okay, I'm from Africa.
Right.
Why do they think that? Not that nobody was, but the point is like, well, now, why do they think that? Well, you keep telling the kids
every day. Yeah.
for three generations. That's a long time.
It's a long time.
Years old. 60 years of doing that to people is a long time. It works.
It works very well.
It works.
You know what I mean? And we see it today. They can go make you put something foreign in your body just because they say there's a mysterious thing floating around. Yes, correct. So people act like marketing and propaganda isn't powerful. Like it definitely works. And it worked back then the same way it does now.
Yeah, agreed.
And it's all relying upon these terms and these stories.
Yeah, and then you create. So fast forward to Franklin. It's like, so they've now at some point, I believe, they're concocting this in the 1700s in their back rooms and castles. Hey, we got to roll out this new myth of the Anglo-Saxon being white and being the real conqueror of England and running it. And the joke on that, guys, is the Normans conquered the Saxons in 1066 and took 80% of their land away. And it's called the Domes. It's literally called the Doomsday Book. Doomsday Book. And it's a whole book. It took them 20 years to formulate. They audited every piece of ground in England so they could then retitle it to their guys. So this is so like...
It's deep.
That fact, but it shows you this is all about making myth and making an identity and making ultimately what I call it a cult. These are all different cult. I like these cult because cult is they're forming a little culture here. There's a little culture over here. There's another culture over here. I mean, America is like it's just 100 hot cultures.
Yeah,
but that's what they all are.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you good?
Yeah. Welcome back, Mac.
Hey, what you said is crazy because when I thought about the time frame, that would be William the Conqueror, right? The Norman invented Britain.
Yeah.
Oh, I was making, you know what I'm saying? Because that's like, 1060 walking up now. Alfred the Great I brought up, and we get to certain things that's happening in this region. Now, our identity becomes more structured of them excluding other groups of people who are in the region from that terminology. Because we're just trying to get to, as you said, Benjamin Franklin now saying in 1752 what an Anglo-Saxon is, and they're a pure white race and all that good stuff in America, right? But people don't know the backdrop on the walk up for them coming over here. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I'm losing him again.
Nah, you got something on it?
I just can't hear him. Is it just me that can't hear him?
Nah, he broke off on purpose this time. I actually saw him mute because I think he realized his signal was about to go out.
oh, poor guy. All right, it's tough. I know. I've been there before.
Yeah.
So some point. So I do think obviously this has to tie somewhat to what I was saying earlier. King George, the House of Hanover. They're from Saxony, Germany. I'm imagining they're part of writing this new program up, right? And clearly the program is, we're gonna whiten this up for whatever reason that decision's made. And here he is writing, hey, we don't have enough white people over here. And he also makes the point there's very few white people relative to the rest of the world, which is also the giveaway about what did Europeans really look like then for 1,000 years ago. Because if there's not that many white people yet, even in Europe, then what the hell what color were they the previous 1,000 years then?
Correct. And from that point forward was the establishment doing mass migrations of people to be able to put them in the areas starting then.
Right. And then there's America after the Revolution, 1794, that Naturalization Act that says it specifies white as in lighter complexion coming from certain parts of Europe only. Like only certain parts of Europe, like not Bulgaria, not Ukraine, Europe, but, Great Britain, Germany, Netherlands, Scandinavia, Europe, and only light skin. So something's going on. Like obviously, they've been working at, pillaging people and setting up that situation finally, over in Europe. To your point, they've been creating that supply of white people over in Europe first over a couple centuries. That's my take on it. Setting them up there with some power,
Correct. Yep. And getting them ready. So we went through. Yeah. So I'm gonna get us to the point to where I'm multitasking here because I'm trying to make sure Matt good. So,
there you go. Normans reduced. Yes. There you go. I didn't see that earlier on the slide. Yeah, you got it right there. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
Matt, you with us?
Yes, yes, that's interesting. Something goes on there. The programming. They roll out the program. Yeah. Well, you guys, you got to correlate it to, I've done a lot of deep dive on the lady goddess Columbia. They roll her out during and after the revolution. That's a gigantic cult. I mean, it's huge. They're pumping through stuff about Columbia and Jesus and God in the Sunday schools. So this goes on, guys, for like 80 years. It doesn't really end until after the Civil War. And they kind of have the Statue of Liberty, but they don't tell people that's Columbia. So they'd already went to the Uncle Sam marketing after the Civil War. But you got a solid like 80 years. That's 4 generations of pumping people full of Columbia, which means dove, white dove coming in as now your new leader, Americans, right? This is huge fun because you Americans also are inspired by the dove. You see, we're into this. We're tricking you. We're using your own symbols to work you, right? Mm-hmm. So that to me is the beginning. I'm sure that would tie into Franklin and all of them saying we got these white Anglo-Saxons too, and that might even, I'm going to research in that, but I will bet you there'll be a tie-in behind the scenes to them forming that code and whitening the country, and and then making this myth that you white guys are part of this warrior case class.
Yeah, super superior. Yep.
And not one of them knows about the Norman conquest. Think about who they're. I'll shut up on that for now. But that's a lot right there.
And that's a good point. You just said a lot of people. It doesn't matter the race. Americans, period, are ignorant of their history. This is would you say that's true, Travis?
Yeah, I mean, but think about it. Like, this is an entire nation outside of the indigenous that everybody's been displaced and moved around. Well, now the indigenous have also been displaced and moved around. And actually, we find out that not only were they moved around in the Americas, that they were shipping them back the other way. That's a whole other history thing I want to look into. What happened to them? But certainly, this is exactly what they wanted. They were like, okay, now we're going to just send displaced people from all around the world here who have no sense of their history, their ancestry, cut off from their clans, their tribe. And I've seen my own life. You can ask most white Americans walking around, they're not going to get past like 4 or 5 generations on you. They'll be like, they're going to be like, and they don't even realize that that 18-person family was really a custodian family. That they weren't even all really, they're throwing people together. Yeah. Big time in the 18. And that's
you covered that a lot. Yeah.
Deep dives on that, guys. And it's like, so there's a reason there might not be as much of a curiosity about the past among the light-skinned African American. There's a reason.
They're happy to be in America. Who cares about the past in their mind state?
It's not a very good past. It's not an illustrious past, or they can't see any illustrious.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, Matt, let us know. You back with us?
Yeah, I've been listening. I just been choppy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hear me?
Yeah,
though?
yeah. Nah, you good. You good now.
Okay. All right. I mean, be smooth as possible. Whatever reason this is happening, right? But
Oh no, they took him. Damn, they don't want to let.
Conviction
Hey,
part comes into play, and
you can hear me, Matt? He's self-conscious now.
yeah, I hear you.
I know, bro. They don't want to let. Hey, they don't want to let you be great, bro. I don't know what it is.
Hey, move to the.
Which one we talking? What time? What time period we want to take them to, Matt?
Hey, hey, look. Can you? All right. So look,
Now
what
I
I was
can.
trying to get to is, can you hear me now? Mic check.
Yeah.
So before I go off, right? Because this, I don't know what. Hey, I got 4 bars too, y'all. It's like I don't.
It's Rome, bro. Rome, they got us. The crosshairs.
It might be the Holy Roman Empire.
They got us, bro. That's all it is. And the people know it, bro.
Yeah.
I can hear them trying to fix it. Hold on, let me go to the chat, man. There's a lot of people been.
Okay.
Peace to the line with the party. Appreciate you. A lot of people don't understand that the so-called black was in Europe before the so-called white people. I would say what I've found is, to be honest, there's no way to really know, but we definitely know both of them existed in Europe and in different places for a very long time before coming in contact with each other. So there's no way to really know, but just know that there was definitely black people in Europe, as well as what we already know that there was white people there.
And I want to support that with one of the ways I do it is I look into literature. So you get into literature where they're talking about, I'd say pre-1500s Europe. And you will see, once you know how to interpret what you're looking at, they're literally just talking about, I was reading about Silesians and Polacks, Polish people that were all being considered tawny. They were being considered just straight up called black monsters, because these black monsters were kicking these white guys' asses in the middle of Silesia and what we think of as like northern Germany. This is like, they're writing it this way, showing you that there must have been this group of they're actually calling them the Knights. So I got a lot in my head, a lot of theories going on where I'm telling you, it's like there's this powerful group that's sort of independent of it all, and they're kind of roaming around through Europe still, and the white people are like scared of them because they're powerful and they're rich. It describes them with their jewelry.
Right.
And guys, we're talking about, they're describing Polish people like this, Silesians, like we're talking about names of Europe that have just even lost, it's really interesting. And it makes me feel like it was a lot darker for a lot longer than anybody's copping to at the moment.
Because it wouldn't fit the narrative.
So there's a lot there. It's just it's just, I would just say it's actually, don't read a history book for some of this stuff. Go read literature written about a time period where they can maybe be more honest.
Right. And they give you their accounts and sources of what they're talking about, not just a revised book where you're supposed to study certain bullet points that they're giving you to memorize. You know what I mean?
Right. Or like you'd be amazed at poetry. So these people write poems back in the day that will reveal a lot more facts than you're allowed to. You can get a lot underneath, the censors. There's always censors in every era, so that's another way. And you have to ask yourself, well, I know I'm reading some fiction right now or literature, but this wouldn't make any sense to its audience unless why would you talk about black monsters and black dark Tartar princesses running around in Germany unless that made sense to the people of the 1500s that So anyhow, yeah, I think there's a lot of support for it. Just you're not going to find it in the official history books right now.
Correct. On purpose.
Oh, absolutely. You want to keep your job if you're a professor.
Yeah. Yo. Yeah, what you got?
How I sound now?
You actually sound good.
God damn.
Yeah.
Apologize. I need to apologize as a studio owner. I gave him the wrong Wi-Fi code.
Oh,
watching. It's my fault. Blame me.
Yeah.
He's getting a discount. Actually, show free.
There we go. Yeah. See, there we go. We like that type of service, man.
Blueprint recordings.
Yeah.
No, for real, I'm sorry about that. For real, I was pissed myself. I'm like, this ain't making no sense. Last week I was straight. You know what I'm saying? I got lights and shit. You want to put lights on? I don't need no lights. We don't need no lights. Sorry about that. I apologize. Mac, I'm sorry. I know we good. We good. Hey,
that's all.
His invoice. Yeah, remove the invoice. All right.
Tell me where you want to take it, bro.
Hey, we live.
Yeah,
though.
now we got you.
Y'all good now, though?
Nah, you good. You real good. You sound like last week.
The fuck, man? God damn, bro.
Working out the kinks, bro. It's all good. You know, hey, host with the most. I got you, bro. It's all good.
I appreciate y'all patience here because I knew something was wrong. I'm like, this ain't supposed to be doing this like this. Either way, where we was at though, as you know, I'm glad y'all. We got this. That's why we need your slides in place when things like this happen. You know what I mean? So where I was, we got to Alfred the Great though, and we was talking about how the Anglo-Saxons came together. But then we got to, and I seen them talking, because I can hear it, but I knew I was
couldn't respond. Yeah.
Something wasn't right. So in the situation, all I was trying to show is though how this Anglo-Saxon identity comes about. And then we get to the time frame where they're coming into America as an ethnic identity. You know what I'm saying? Coming from their tribal situation. Also, what I don't think a lot of people are understanding too is how, like the Franks, that's tied to France. You know what I'm saying? The Vandals, the Goths, these different groups that's in this area we call Iberia, or that's in this area of Western Europe. You know what I'm saying? Scotland, Ireland, Britain, England, you know what I mean? Areas. Germany, though, when people, I don't know, maybe people disconnect Germany from Europe, and maybe that's why some people don't think there could be swarthy or people being described as dark-skinned people, tribally being in those areas prior to those groups of people who came in. But Rome is going to, if you research, Rome's going to be your referee for that. You know what I'm saying? And I had to make sure I could say it again clearly because of the interruption and with the connection. And I apologize for that, because we live. But at the same time, Travis, what you think about that? Because now that we...
So what I like about this part because I have read a lot about Julius Caesar in terms of him going over to Great Britain. And one thing that's always struck me is, one, he has to go over land. Two, he has to get the German tribes that go along with it. They have to give him passage, and then some of them join and all that, because he has a long supply chain stretching all the way through. Then you got to ask why they didn't just get on ships and go out the Straits of Gibraltar and head up. So obviously there was someone more powerful than them that wouldn't let them do that. So keep that in mind when you're reading him. Then and this is where he writes a lot about the Druids. So the version of the Druids and all this human sacrifice, that all comes out of Caesar. He's the only source for all of this, guys, just so you understand. So talk about the victors writing the history. Literally, this stuff is based on him going over there and then telling us what he thinks. Now, there's a whole thing to it. The fourth thing you got to realize is they don't even get past, they have to build Hadrian's Wall. They don't even get into what we call modern Scotland. They're not able to take over what we call modern Wales, and they don't even come close to Ireland. So who are those guys that they weren't able to, take over? Now, you have to ask yourself, I thought this was the great Roman Empire. It's Julius Caesar. Well, I don't know. He didn't really win, did he? And then he came back and got killed a year later, got assassinated. So much for all, what the heck's really going on with that? It's a whole nother story. But the point is, there's 4 questions to ask yourself. Hadrian's Wall, did he build it to keep them out? Or, see what I mean? Like, hey, to protect the turf they do have from these, who are these guys, these Picts, these, right? Because if he's using the Saxons and the Jutes and the Anglo, they're on Team Roman. So, who are they killing are Britons and Welsh and Picts and Gaelics, and there were way more names back then. And then he's also bad mouthing who? Their priests, their druids, you know? And I can't help but look at all that and just think, if you look at the druids and their religion and their oak groves and all that, and they even have, you know, the same swastika that you see, it's like, so is he going after the same group of people that then the Holy Roman Empire and Great Britain go after over here? Because they have a lot of similar symbols. They're described looking at, you know, the Scottish guys that were full of, you know, painting themselves, the Picts, and putting you know, that's all, you know, who are these guys, right?
Right. Hey.
Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah,
I mean, because of time and how I messed up that part, you know, again, I apologize. I'm gonna run it back. I will make it up. Shout out to everybody again. Only thing that the stigma that needs to be broken as everything that we're showing on the screen tonight and everything as we get to America, because the time is tonight. You know what I mean? Because clearly the part of the history part. And again, I'm gonna put all the notes just because I'm gonna make up for this free. You know what I'm saying? Just like how homeboy D says, invoice. Okay. All right. However, though, I'm going to put it out so everybody can get this information. However the case, when we get to people like Benjamin Franklin, his people ain't come over here as free people just because they were considered white or Anglo-Saxon or Germanic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. These people came over here and they got terms for them. And I know that black folk have a stigma because we're always taught so much in history about this term chattel slavery. And when we understand the Roman influences of how certain terms are adopted underneath the term chattel, which just means movable property, you know what I'm saying? That means anything they can move around, right? We also got to understand how the Romans moved around these people, but they just didn't use the term chattel for them. You know what I'm saying? These people, after the term foederati, that word we showed earlier, you know what I'm saying? In their alliances, there's the ones that allied with them, and there's the ones that didn't. See what I'm saying? So after Rome fell in the Western Hemisphere, there's certain groups that literally, you know what I'm saying, was on their own shit type shit. You know what I'm saying? But then the ones that took on Latin, see, the Germanic tribes took on Latin, the crowns. Right. Not all the Anglo or Germanic or Caucasian or whatever, you know what I'm talking about? But the ones that were on the elite level that allied foederati, heritage and stuff of being in these regions because of how they got there, they're the ones that are literally, you know what I mean, in the situation where they take upon what we call Roman Catholic history, you know what I mean, of being Roman Catholic at that point. Right. These crowns, this is in the 15th century. This is where now we talk about France, we talking about, you know what I mean, Spain, Castile, Aragon, you know what I mean, these certain groups that are considered today, you know, of their Germanic tribal background, but they're in these regions because of how Rome and all the history of that and how they allied with Rome. Tied to that word, foederati. Y'all heard that right? This time around.
Oh, yeah. Clear.
Okay. All right, bet. So within that, you know what I'm saying, bond servant, because of Rome, the word bond servant is adopted. Now, you can find this in the Bible as well. And some people might get that kind of like confusing because if you're reading it from a biblical standpoint, you're like, well, this term is in the biblical book and them people weren't being called that at the time. You're right. They weren't there at that time being called that. Rome adopted what they call Christianity. We broke that down to y'all too, right? You know what I'm saying? They adopted it. You know what I'm saying? So these Germanic groups of people also adopted it. I'm going to get to the Puritans and everything in a minute. I'm trying to fast forward fast enough so we can get this right. You know what I'm saying? So the terms, though, because I ain't being biased, because Rome's the referee. And if you're going to say I'm tripping, you're going to have to say Rome tripping. That's why I'm doing this. So it won't be no black or white thing. It's Roman thing. It's a Roman thing. You know what I'm talking about? So in this situation, bondman, one who owes service. That falls underneath that term foederati. You know what I'm saying? It's an Old Norse bondi with a B-O-N-D-I. I'm trying to move forward fast now. Look, and then it says here, serf, as we know, slave, Slavic. Yeah. And another word I don't think people hear about is Thrall.
Thrall.
So,
thrall. That's why you're enthralled. That's why you get enthralled by something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what I mean? That's associated with them. You know what I'm saying? As far as that tribal groups of people with Rome and how they're in this servitude situations underneath the Roman Catholic, you know what I'm saying? Also, you know what I mean? Powers going into the 15th century, which is tied to the terms that's also tied to them coming into the colonies in America, funny enough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it also says laborer, servant, hireling. You know what I'm saying? Now, funny enough, this needs to be understood. Not a chattel slave. They're coming in servitude, but they're not in a chattel position, because we got to understand it. These Germanic tribal groups of people, Anglo-Saxon, whoever, who are underneath the Roman situation of these crowns, who are being brought in, they're not aligned with the Roman Catholic situation on an elite level. The
Right.
elite level are the ones that are using this term for who they're conquering in areas.
And to
we
move
call,
people around.
Right. I mean, that's in other areas, not their own people that look like them.
Yeah. It's the replacements.
Chattel. You know what I'm saying? Now, they're in a temporary or contract-based situation. Go back to that word, foederati. Foederati, like federal. You know what I'm saying? Like federal, foederati. Remember that. You know what I'm saying? F-O-E-D-E, F-O-E-D-A-R-T-I. However you pronounce it, you're going to find it. It's in the link. Now,
like a door cap.
That part. You got to make sure it's there. You know what I'm saying? So lay it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Meaning semi-free. This word lay it, L-A-E-T, is also tied to these groups of people, term they're using for them. And they're agricultural servants also in a position of that type.
Agricultural servants.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tied to land. Similar to serfs. Lay it. I'm giving y'all some terms tied to them, how they coming in now. Right? Now, when the English translators sought a word for a Greek, and it's going to be, the Greek word is going to be D-O-U-L-O-S, slave/servant. And it says they choose bond servant. That's what people can go research, how all correlates to all those groups of people. And the terminology they fall underneath as bond servants coming into America. Not necessarily free. Their contract situations, because a lot of them could not pay their way to get over here.
Correct.
Puritans, the Anglo.
No matter who they was, yeah.
I don't give a damn. Right? I ain't being biased. Nope. Them people could.
The average European, period, I don't care what their color was, couldn't pay to get over here on their own.
That part. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, chattel slavery. You know what I mean? 1500s to the 1700s. We know that terms applied from the Roman crowns at that time to people who would be described as blackamoors, Yahudim, Indians, all right, Saracens, Moors, Muslims, you know what I'm saying? And any other group. The groups that are underneath Roman situations in these regions that are coming in and being brought in are being brought in under these different terminologies than the terms we are properly told about dealing with chattel slavery. Did everybody get that?
Yep.
Breakdown.
Good.
What you think about that, Travis? How that sound to you?
Well, I think that they actually had the head right system. So basically, the capitalists, the shareholders who buy shares in these colonizing companies, the money they invest is used typically to either buy the people that they're going to put on the ships, or they're the owner of the ships, or they're paying the owner of the ship to do the trips. That's literally like how when you purchase shares in just about every colonial corporation, it's literally what's going on. So yeah, people weren't like lining up like, oh, let's go on vacation to America and, really make it big. They were getting bought by these wealthy capitalist shareholders as the little shares in the company. You send people over. And so who do you think? Yeah, they're buying, the guys that aren't an apprentice. They're buying the guys that aren't landholders. They're buying the guys that aren't in a guild, aren't working on a manor for, remember, you got displacement going on. They're kicking everybody off the common. See, that's why you have to have such a knowledge of just all the system and everything that's going on in any area you're looking at to make sense of it. So who are these people that they're dumping over, especially for the most part, excluding the leaders and the money guys coming over to boss everybody, the knights and stuff? It's these type of people. And you're like, where are they coming from? Well, when you're kicking everybody off the common lands, again, the exact same type of common covenant held land holding that they had here in America, still when they started showing up here and they began to work that down as well. So that's literally how they're creating a supply of people to send over. They're kicking them off the common lands there and then going, oh, you're a pauper. you don't have a job and that's a crime. We're going to throw you in jail. Well, here, instead of throwing you in jail, this guy's bought you and you're going on. That's like what they're doing for the most part. It starts to get more business-like after 100 years or so, and companies form over there, and they bring more, or should I say, less desperate people per se. But you're still not bringing over. But still, guys, they're not coming over. You know, put it to you this way: if you got a good thing going on where you're at, you're not leaving. That's not what humans do. So who are they? So who's coming over here? The people who don't have a good thing going on, you know,
Right.
on average. Like, think about it, right?
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it all like gels, and then you got a myth. Like, you really have a myth that they start making up, saying all these people have been coming over for 200 years are white guys that are Anglo-Saxons. It's like,
Right.
Yeah, that's the setup, because they are about to open the floodgates to bring over not Anglo-Saxons, but white people from Europe. But they want to tell them the myth that they're right.
The Anglo-Saxons, they take on the name in America as the Anglo-Saxons. That's their history.
And that's tied into King George III and the House of Hanover coming out of Saxony, Germany.
Correct.
They're a part of this. And of course, that's why you have people like in my family line coming from an area called Hesse-Kassel. And many of them were actually very dark, swarthy Germans. They were the redcoats that were working for who? King George, that they sent over during the Revolution.
The Hessians.
The Hessians. And they had to make that connection to that specific lineage, because that's a part of the 13 colonies. You mentioned the Stuarts. So that's why they chose that specifically.
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
hell yeah.
Right.
They had to be.
Something's going on.
But look, it's a division. All right.
Division. Yeah, they had a strategy.
Hey, look, it was a division. See, what we're not getting is that in this region, after the Stuart and the Hanover situation takes place, obviously the Jacobite gleanings, you know what I mean, and how those people were being transported into the 13 colonies. You know what I'm saying? So it's all connected to what we've got to show too, and this is gonna play a clip from Handsome History. You know what I mean? Travis.
Yeah, let me know when you're ready for it.
You know what I'm saying? So all I want to make sure is clear is that when we in like the 1650s, 1660s, matter of fact, no, late 1600s, 1700s, and this what's going on in those areas underneath those crowns that we call the 13 colony crowns, and the disputes that they're having between the Stuart line and the Hanovers. The Hanovers, George I, George II, George III, obviously is bringing groups of people in during this time frame of when the dispute takes place of the breaking apart of what we call, the colonies, the Continental Congress, right? The House of Burgess and other houses that are in America that are paying their taxes to now what we call the Germanic line, is just the Hanovers, which is tied to the Georges. And they're sending not just white people over here to fight on behalf of them. The Hessians are not white people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that right there is throwing people in a loop, because people like these people coming out of Germany.
Well, guys, remember King George is described. He's a swarthy guy. So that family, the House of Hanover of Saxony, Germany, was seen as swarthy, and they're described that way. And he's known. He's the one there's a famous painting of him with two dark-skinned Turkish guys. Those are your hostage elites from the wars that he fought against the Turks. His house on behalf of Austria. So you see all this connection here. You got hostaging, elite hostaging involved. You got the fact that they're dark. You got uniting Britain and Navy with the mercenary armies of this electorate, and they're Catholic, but I don't like to call them Roman Catholic, because they're really working for the Holy Roman Empire, and that's basically Austrian and Germany. Okay, that's big time. And of course, we know Spain is a part of that for a while, the Habsburg. But that's why they got a whole war going on, because they don't want him to have too much power. So at this point, it's mostly when we say the Holy Roman Empire, it's that Germany contingent, Austria, and kind of going into Eastern Europe a bit. And that's a lot of money, guys. It's a lot of capital, a lot of elite people funneling their money into this whole venture called colonization, the invasion. That's where it's coming from.
Exactly.
All right, bet.
You want to take it to the video?
Yeah,
I
go
got
to a
you.
video so we can come back and we're gonna make up the time tonight. See, I got more time and everything. We ain't got nowhere to go.
Here we go.
We're gonna run this right.
The white slave trade in the United States. From a business journal of 1858. Our admiration of this new system is unbounded. It is so simple, so economical, so profitable, and so perfect. Buy land and bait it. Mr. Thayer was a very wealthy abolitionist northern capitalist family, the Thayers, also major elites in the United States military academy. Mr. Thayer is a buy land and bait it type of person, and white slaves will settle on it as thick as flies on carrion. Not Indians or Africans, for they have too much sense to bite at such bait. But white slaves, slaves flying from the land monopoly in Europe to the incipient land monopoly in America. From DeBow's Review, 1858. It goes on to say they, the white slaves coming in from Europe in 1858, they better their condition by this exchange, and though they are slaves still, they are allowed more than in the old countries. So they were slaves in Europe, and he's saying now they're slaves in the United States, but it's a little better slavery. That's how bad Europe was in the 1800s. We should prefer savage liberty to the condition of these white laborers, even under the auspices of our organized emigration. They then referred to another Union senator, Sumner. He propounded his theory before this Mr. Thayer, for Sumner spoke of, I quote, sending capital in advance of labor. So what he's saying there is the setup is to get loans from the banks, buy these new public lands that are coming up as they kick the Indians and everybody, I mean, going west, right? This is 1858. And what they were doing is the government would initially own the lands, like the Congress, and then they would sell them. So these guys would get their loans from their banks in New York or over in Europe. They buy the land. The land's not worth anything unless you have people to work it, farm it, whatever you're going to do. And they had this whole bait and switch in which they'd basically pay for these guys to get transported over to the United States, and another company would take them. They were called immigration companies. They'd take them out to, say, Kansas or at this point even Utah, and they would be enslaved by a master there. They were calling it servitude, but it was way worse than Southern slavery because it had no lifetime guarantee of employment. It didn't have any requirement for clothing or food. They can get rid of you right away. And that's what this magazine, which is a cross-sectional, it's not a Southern business journal, it's just a United States business journal, is specifically labeling over and over again white slavery. This new abolitionism proposes to expel Negro slaveholders and Negro slaves because white labor is cheaper than black, because its supply, its meaning white labor, is inexhaustible, and because white labor, it more rapidly settles the lands of these speculators and enhances the price of the lands. It's a lot to unpack there, but you hear what he's saying? That they're going to expel Negro slaveholders. So right away, what's that telling you about the makeup of the Southern slaveholder skin-wise? And also expel the Negro slave. Now, why would you need to expel tortured and unhappy and miserable dominated Negro slaves? Wouldn't you just ask them? Wouldn't they just be happy to leave? No, you have to expel the Negro slaves right along with the Negro slave holders in order to make way for these white slaves who will work for practically nothing. Straight from the facts. This isn't even from a history book. This is literally a business journal in 1858 calling out the system, describing it exactly as is, and showing you how these wealthy northern abolitionist capitalists from these ancient families at that point already had 500 years of wealth built up, some of them 800 and 900 according to the records. And what are they really doing in the Civil War? They're clearing out the best land in the world, the best agricultural land in the world for themselves.
All right. So what you think about that, Matt?
I mean, I want Travis to go first. It's his clip.
So you want Travis to talk on it? Go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, so
pull up the source though, real quick. Matter of fact, pull up the source though. I found, Travis, what I do, you know how I do it over here at the party, what we do over here, right? I found that source.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna show the source so people won't think you just saying something.
Yeah.
Out the blues, by the way. I want people to know that when you were talking about, I went and dug up. So
and that's just one of the sources from the whole thought there. But yeah. Well, I want to tie it to what we're just so Anglo-Saxon white, right? So this is 1858. And this guy they're talking about, Thayer, I've done a deep dive on the Thayer dynasty, including their major players in the United States military. There's a whole bunch there. But this is, in fact, how they whiten the country. So they raise capital, right? They're buying. Now, what they've gotten so slick by the 1800s that in the old days, you bought the person, sent him over, and he had to do a year or two, and then he was kind of free to go back. And believe it or not, they mostly hightailed their asses back to Europe. It was so bad in Virginia and stuff, they could go back. This gets even slicker and says, we're going to pay for them to come over, but it's actually going to count against them as a debt that they owe us. So they basically create a system where they're starting to bring white paupers and guys in jail. Remember I told you about all that displacement. It's called the Enclosure Acts. They passed over 500 land enclosure acts over 200 and 300 years. They took up 60% of like England's common land. So nobody had, it's really, people don't realize just how horrible. We live in the post-apocalyptic times. If you kind of start reading this stuff, right? So they're sending these people over here on debt on their tab. And then the deal is they're going to put them in some county and they only pay them in corporate money that only works. So if they go to the next town over, they can't buy anything. So they got these guys so into this system by displacing them from their family back there. These guys have nowhere to go, right? That's who they're starting to bring up. That's how the capitalists are doing. These guys like Thayer are telling you, we got to push out the Negro. Now we know who the Negro is. That's the Indian, and they're Indian slave holders because they go together. What a shocker that since they're actually the American original indigenous group, they're still in like a clan system. That's why he says you got to get rid of both of them, replace them with our guys that are on our system that we can control with our Protestant churches on every street corner, right? And even though they don't know how to do anything here, we're willing to suffer through all of that to get control of this amazing land. And that's the playbook from like 1800, and it culminates in the Civil War. And then Reconstruction's a shit show because nobody but the ex-slaves, the Negro, knows what the hell they're doing. So that's all in the Indian Bureau reports. So it just proves the fact that this was a very dark affair in this country, really through the Civil War. In the South, guys, and I've read so many books now, I'm talking ratios of 4 out of 5 are dark melanated, not dark, melanated people. But in the South, being described by various European trust, reps, agents of empire, so to speak. It's overwhelming. So it's just wild that this is the reality on the ground while Franklin's telling everybody, while they're rolling out this thing about
increasing the mankind.
And then, so who is it for? The audience is these chumps, these poor, they got nothing.
Who need motivation
And pride, right? And then who are you guys? You're the savages. But he gives it away in his paper. He says, better to be a savage at liberty. What is he saying? Better to be an Indian, dude, than one of these guys.
And I agree. I would listen.
Better to be on with the tribe than be one of these dudes, is what he's saying.
And this is why people. So we talked earlier. You guys mentioned something about Europe. So Europe was landlocked. Basically, they didn't have enough area. Go ahead, run it.
He said a savage with liberty.
I like that because it makes sense.
That's some maroon shit.
Hey, and what's he saying? The Indians still had liberty in 1858. What's going on here?
What's going on here?
This is why you got to read this stuff. I tell people there's so many nuggets and gems, but you have to get enough of I don't like to use the word expertise, but you just have to have enough understanding of what they mean by the words at the time that they're and it's just hard. But once you do that, you're like, no. Oh, I know. He's just revealing a bunch to us right here by mistake. He's revealing a bunch.
That part. No, hey, in the same case, when we talking about, again, see, it's a balancing beam when we have these conversations like this, because now we understand that the Roman Catholic system, you know what I'm saying, is dealing with, you know what I'm saying, these groups of people. But see, again, in the beginning of the show and everything had got like kind of thrown off. I don't know if you recall, Travis. I asked you, because you said something to us from the last time you was on our show with us, right? And this, and the Anglo-Saxon Protestant part. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
that you mentioned, right?
Oh man, yes, that's the best.
Right, because see,
that's the big myth.
That mythology, when people
what's
going on,
white
Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Yeah.
You guys aren't messing with Rome.
Yeah. It's all.
You're not messing with Rome. See, I gotta ask somebody that is of that background, so it won't be like crazy, because some people think all white folk all were doing the same stuff, and like how some people have a mythology about white people coming over here as you know, free and elite positions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anglo-Saxon Protestants goes back to Puritans.
Right.
And in the sense of the historical sense of that, before we even go into this part, you reminded me when last time talking to you, you said your people have ties to being obviously Anglo-Saxon and Protestants. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, your peoples ain't tied to this at all. So when people think of you here in America and how you got here and what you went through, they have no idea. You know what I'm saying? So I'm being genuine. Why I wanted to bring you back off of our doing this bill tonight, off the Anglo-Saxon connection to America, because I thought of you when we did our last show.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I just want to say this too. Like, basically, at least like half the people they're bringing over weren't from the British Isles, so it's like a real myth. Like, so they're bringing people, you know, and they're forcing them to even become, so you know, fit this mold as well. I guess is what I'm saying. You know, and this is this new mold, and they, you know, in that century, the 1800s, you know, Catholic America was often swarthy. I mean, there's a whole thing about that people, don't know. So the white Anglo-Saxon is definitely this thing that they're rolling out, because you got too many swarthy Catholics running around, and they might be a little bit not on our system. We want the other word they used at the time, a good Republican citizen with a small R Republican. And that actually means a very specific thing. It's that person that really buys into all this, you know, all these rules and a police on every corner, and in this whole system that they've created. You know, a good Methodist, a good Baptist, a good Presbyterian. That's what they're pushing in to the country. And then they're telling them they're all Anglo-Saxon, even though and they're telling them that the Puritans were. The whole thing's funny because the Puritans are not Anglo. You know, it gets really funny, but that's hindsight. But at the time, it's all part of what the programming they're doing. They're bringing this group over, and they need pride. They need to be like, those are savages. Right. Better yet, you don't want us to think you're the original people of the land. We might feel a little guilty about what we're doing. So they concoct a really good story, which is they're a bunch of Africans you don't want to get. They're Africans you don't want to learn and become a good white Republican. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's what they're putting into the white guy's head as he's arriving. That's what he's being pushed into his head. Why he's getting brainwashed while they're trying to force the freedmen to get on the program too, and they're forcing them into these missionary schools, right? It's all going on, you know, after the Civil War. Everybody's getting, the whole bunch of people.
We in America now. We in America. See,
walk with it, man.
We in America now. See, so Irish slavery in America. Make it a little bit bigger for folks, just so we can show part two. So we want to show towards this within the screenshots and shit. You know what I'm saying? So y'all know we don't slip. Like, if you think we don't know, like, we know. You know what I'm talking about? All right, so these people that's tied to this, and I'm again, see, this is the differentiation. There's people coming out of Ireland, Scotland, Britain, right, that are coming into these same Caribbean areas. Like, see that word Barbados?
Yep.
All right, the Barbados. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's a person that came into America out of the Barbados that would be tied to a person we call Prince Hall. You know, Massachusetts, Prince Hall. Barbados. However, though, these group of people, Ireland, see, because they got the charter, Prince Hall, from out of Ireland, right? Did anybody know that? Like the chartered African Lodge 459 is tied to Ireland. Funny enough, see what I'm saying?
Who are all these swarthy Irish, though, right? Like,
who are the swarthy people?
Doesn't this connect back to the Picts and the they were still here. They were still in 1750. They're still there, or 1650, right?
Right.
And who are the Jacobites, right? Like the whole thing is
right.
They're darker,
right? So
mostly,
it wasn't just one group of people being kicked out of Ireland.
Right.
And everybody today thinks it's just white people being kicked out of Ireland, but it was white and black people being kicked out of Ireland into this same area we call the Barbados. Because this right here is not tied to what they call black folk. Actually, we read it tell you after the Battle of Kinsale in 1601, the English had captured some 30,000 military prisoners, and thus created an official policy of banishment or transportation. James II, you know who James II is, y'all? That's Duke of York.
Yep.
All right.
New
York. Yeah. That's him. Encouraged selling the Irish as slaves to planters and settlers in the New World colonies. The first recorded sale of Irish slaves was to a settlement on the Amazon River. You heard that? 1612.
Wow.
Well, make a bigger form. Like, listen here.
It's going big as it can get right here. It's going to blow up.
The Black Irish, like when I'm reading in the slave journals of like the 1850s, the complaint they'll say, oh man, the slaves are great, but those Irish that come down, that you don't want them working on your land. Like they're like that. I'm like, so what's going on? It's like, it's interesting, like to read it still as late as the 1850s. They're talking about these swarthy Irish that they'd rather, keep the slaves, which means they'd rather use the indigenous Indians on their planet. But you see, they're trying to use these Europeans, but they don't want to use the free whites that come down either. Nobody knows. Nobody's good at this stuff. It's not like you just learn how to run it.
Correct.
It's like gives away the lie.
Right. I mean, it just shows that either way, if people thought that Irish people were all white, right? Okay, well then Irish people were sent to these areas.
Yeah, right. We're all the white Irish,
and those people are all white people. Even if I'm not going to say it wasn't white people in Ireland, but I'm just saying,
they were probably displacing these. A lot of the whites are the ones.
Yeah,
you got to imagine that's probably what's going on, and then they start displacing the whites in the 1880s when they start starving. They just they're always killing people.
But look at the number it says here: from 1641 to 1652. Over 550,000 Irish were killed by English.
That's more than like World War II for America. Just so you know, those are big numbers, people.
That number is huge.
Big.
Right. and it says 300,000 more were sold as slaves. Now, do y'all know what time frame this is? This is going to be during the Jacobite time frame.
Correct. And we can show you documents proving that people come to America.
And the Stewarts are the ones losing power.
Yes.
Correct. Timeline wise, so many people are being deported based on what's going on with the Jacobite situation.
850,000 is basically what they said. So no, you got the ones that was killed, and then you got the 300,000 that was sold. And if these numbers are accurate, you just wiped out almost 1 million people.
Right. And I believe the population was only like 8 million as of like 1850. I don't know what it was, but it had to be less than 8 million in Ireland, I would think.
And that makes sense.
20% is what I'm saying of their population. These are big numbers.
Right. Big numbers.
Real big numbers.
Hey, it tell you in the next paragraph, because I don't know if anybody ever go Google.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Cromwell. Oh. See, so we ain't making none of this up. See,
the children. You see the children part, man. Oh yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Those are the custodial children, guys. That's what we're talking about. Like I'm telling you, they pumped this country full of black over time. So many children, and they would assign them custodial parents. It's a whole thing that people don't realize.
Look, have you seen a picture of Cromwell?
Well, he's always white in the ones I see, but is he dark? Is he swarthy?
I could pull him. Wait, he's swarthy than he's so swarthy with the Jerry curl. Oliver Cromwell is, oh man.
Well, they turned him. Yeah. I want to do a deep dive on his family. His dad was the first one to get some type of power or something.
Yeah.
All I know is, I mean, right now, actually, I should have thought about this, but see, I ain't gonna lie, I slipped, see, because I got thrown off earlier, see, so I apologize, but see, I'm gonna find it for y'all, because I don't be capping. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna post it. You hear me? Listen here, 1649. All I know is the timeline is on point though, and if you want to think they black or white in your mind, this is what's happening either way. Timeline.
Yeah. Either way, nobody's coming here by choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, guys, it's bad that English Civil War, because that's what he's really talking about, is brutal. And it's Ireland, it's a whole bunch going on over for 20, 30 years. And the numbers, there's at least, they probably kill over 1 million people. You know, you have to ask yourself, you know, how did the old system compare to this new system when 1 million people are willing to go to their graves to they didn't want that, you know what I mean? Like, you got to ask yourself some of these questions, you know, like, well, what kind of system are we living in if people were willing to like go to the mat? Because that's kind of like saying it's not even worth my kid being like, this ain't even worth, we might as well die here, because what I'm seeing them bringing in ain't even worth it.
No good.
I don't want my kids living in that. I don't want think about that for a second, you know, like, oh, okay.
Yep. Good perspective.
I mean it's the reality of the situation, because I think when, you know, immigration ain't got nothing to tie to black or white people that came into America during the colonial time frame of these crowns. The people were not coming here in majority cases free, black or what we call today white, in our systematic way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? So, but the ideal that came in later on, which is they call racism, when the race theories start coming out and people start now grouping themselves based off of a race ideal of who they were in this system of education in America, this is when things start to shift. Before that, it wasn't like that, because these people, these numbers, I don't give a damn what you tell me, it ain't right. It ain't right. The numbers ain't.
Yeah, man, it's a lot. And then to your point, though, it's almost like, again, part of erasing everybody's memory and connection to their ancestors and what they may have lost. This is just eliminate even just the idea of even thinking about some type of history like that. You know what I mean? And that's why I think it plays so well. You're bringing over so many of these white people now in the 1800s, especially with steamships, right? So things really pick up, guys. The numbers after the Civil War, guys, is like 400, 500,000 a year. Yes. They're mostly white people, okay? And that's because they're trying to basically surround the Indians in the Southeast, especially, because they're still there, but they're trying to just overwhelm them to the fact that it's really just like they're just using them as bodies, really, for the first 20 years. It's really bad stuff, like, on so many levels, right? But it shows that they're willing to like destroy everything for a time period in order to get it set up so that they have total control when you kind of come out of Reconstruction. And that's where, after Reconstruction, you want to talk about the Anglo-Saxon mythology starts heavy hitting after that war, big time. Yeah, that's when it's, you know, that's what we live in.
Yeah.
Hey, you see?
Oh, yeah, there you go. There he is. Yeah, that's a swarthy man. Yeah, I mean, there you go, man. I mean, listen, these Puritans, right? Because he's a Puritan. They were, most of them were, they were coming from Iberia originally. I know there's mixing in, but there wasn't a lot of interracial mixing in England from what I can tell. And that was their decision. They didn't want to mix with these stupid English native. There's a whole thing. So they kind of maintained the color for a while. I mean, you know, it's the mixing happens more in the United States eventually.
Correct.
That doesn't surprise you. I doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, there you go, man. I mean,
hey, this is crazy about this man, though, right? The Roman Catholic situation. Look, this is why also everybody today we talk about race. This later on comes into play. But in the time frame with people like him, he is head of the Parliament of England. Right. You know what I'm saying? He is also a Puritan.
Yep.
He's the leader of the Puritan movement.
Yep.
So if you black or white in that area at that time politically, tied to the stewards that were and he's a steward too.
Originally he's
he's
from that line. Yeah.
in genealogy, he would be a steward too. On his mama's side, right? On his mama's side. On his mama's side.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
We got a comment. This is a genius comment. She said this is the original H-1B visa game. They haven't changed the play yet. This is exactly why we started the show with the way that we did. We got to understand none of this is new.
Immigration's a tool. Moving people around. Can I don't want to go off on two, but I just want
to
say we got to understand that what we're in better. You have to study what was going on before, like what kind of system. And I'm going to tell you one thing that applied, and the Indians were doing it here, and the pagans in Europe were doing it there. Which I'm starting to wonder who the pagans are. Like what? Right? Okay, well, we'll just call the Indians in Europe pagans for now. Okay, that's a placeholder. That's a placeholder for future, study. So the pagans, right, they just happen to all have the same kind of economic system. And one big part of it is that what is sacred is where you were born, you were tied to the land, and only the families, and you always have a hierarchy, don't get me wrong, but that hierarchy, the powerful are always tied to the land as well. Meaning you didn't just get to go over to some other part and be like, hey man, we're going to set up a factory here and compete with you. Oh, no. This was all sacred. Like this was all negotiated. None of us have a sense of that anymore, man, because they've been doing this for 500 years now, man, moving us around, telling us it's the best thing since sliced bread in America, mobility, blah, blah, blah. They've got us all sold on it. And you got to absolutely stop at some point and ask yourself, why is that so great? How does that, how
does that help you?
How does that work for your descendants 5 generations from now? Like, just think that through. Like, what's going on? And then ask yourself, why did 1 million Irish people die fighting this guy Cromwell? They saw what he was bringing, man.
Right.
Why did so many Indians here die?
They knew what was coming.
They're like they saw what was coming. Yeah, man.
We're living in it right now.
Right. Crazy enough. This is the thing I want to get to. Crazy that because of the fact that the influence of people having to shift from the Stuart Roman Catholic influence, and even before King Charles II or James II, who obviously are in lineage tied to King James VI, the first, and how at that time frame people that trace him famously because of the Bible that he authored or put out, you know what I'm saying, underneath his authority of divine kings and shit, ideal of things. And we don't have time for that tonight. I apologize. We got to bring this back. And look, I'm gonna bring this back because of this reason. But at the same time, just to keep it in point of this conversation, this man right here on the screen, y'all, make sure y'all understand what he did. 1599 to 1658.
Yeah. Wow. Is that much time he was?
All right. That's the time frame. Wow. All right. This man is the leader of the Puritan movement. He's the commander of the Parliament Army. He overthrew King Charles I.
He's the guy that basically got him beheaded.
Yes. Ruled England as Lord Protector from 1653 to 1658. A radical Protestant with Hebraic theology. This is the first one you see. Yeah.
Crypto Jew, the whole Puritan thing. Again, once you remember they're all coming out of that Iberian situation, just
come on.
That it all, it's crypto Muslim, crypto Jew, right? And this whole thing is legal, this whole Protestant. But man, I mean, guys, we could do so much on how these Puritans took over England. Okay.
I got something for you. I just want to just invite you to the conversation as we explore this route of information that we've covered. You know what I mean? That we want to talk about. And I know that Black and white people are impacted by it. And they don't know about it based off American history and what we call the 13 colonies. You know what I'm saying?
Cromwell's a hero in American history. I mean, he's a hero.
That's the crazy part,
Look. Matter of fact, there's more. I'm going to make sure y'all get who he is now because I'm making up time. See, for this, we're messing up earlier, right? Cromwell, Puritans, religious minority, persecuted under the Church of England, seen as extreme Hebrew Christians. Hebrew Christians. You see how he look, all right? Obsessed with the Tanakh law, Shabbat law.
Just like William Penn, the Quaker.
Listen, I'm trying to go somewhere with this. Listen, you know why? The Puritans, when they came over here amongst in the 13 colonies, tied to this time frame, that's when you find a lot of historical information pointing to the Aboriginal groups in America being the 10 lost tribes. It's tied to the Puritans.
Yeah.
It's tied to these group of people.
That's their perception. Yeah, their framework. Yes.
Understand? Yeah. I want you to root, because I've traced the root, but I got messed up tonight. I had something for you, but see, I wanted you to be here to tell me from your understanding, your research. You know what I mean? Because this is what I'm seeing with these Puritans, who obviously become what we know, Protestants.
Yeah,
you know
and he ties back to, so who's the official father of all this is John Calvin. That's why I do deep. So the reason I start my focus on that area is that's when they create this new Protestant thing, and it is super Jewish and super Muslim from Iberia, from the Mediterranean area. It's totally, I mean, Catholicism at that time, I'm talking about at that time, was very hands off the average person. The average person just do your thing, like show up, do mass, and then go live your life. Like, that's it. This stuff is the beginning of like policing every dude's behavior. It's this, what I call the surveillance state.
Yeah.
These guys, and there's a real history to it, and their rituals and their way of social control is right out of what was going on in Iberia in their communities there. Yeah, it's intriguing. It's like, okay, yeah, and it's not nice. It's not like a very attractive, it's tough. Like when you read how they treat their people, it's tough.
All right, but I want to make sure we got that right. Cromwell, I want to go back to another clip because I'm sorry for y'all. Tonight we're making it up. We're going a little bit over Sunday.
That's a great picture, man. I hadn't seen that one. That's not surprised at all.
You know what I mean? Hey, he don't look like the West African folk, but he surely ain't like what we call today Caucasian looking either.
No, he's a total Mediterranean dude. Like, are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying. Like I ain't saying he look like you. You feel me? But he don't look like me.
He's got the hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the giveaway. It's the giveaway. It's the phenotype, not the skin complexion.
Correct.
He's got the nose too. He's got more of a nose from over here. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, that mixture of them stewards and all them people in that area for that time frame, that would be Swarthy mixing with other groups of people too, because they're mixing with these Germanic people too in this area before they come over to America.
At the elite level, yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Real quick before we play this, say correct about the mixing. My second and sixth grade teacher was Irish American. He brought in a picture of his great-great-grandfather who looked like Fred Sanford and uncle looked like Lamont.
That's awesome. That's Red Fox, baby. Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, it starts becoming, my favorite example right now is a lot of these 1960s rock and rollers. It's just becoming obvious to me that they were subversive Indians. It's Jimi Hendrix. I mean, dude's an Indian. He's wearing feathers in his cap. And he's got, he's not African. It's like, come on. Like, stuff's just, once you key in on some stuff, man, Michael Jackson.
Start to pay attention.
Where the Jacksons from? Indiana? You mean the land of the Indians? Nah, no way. Yeah, come on. Like, on and on, right? Like, okay.
Shit. We're going to have to skip up.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. We could go to a lot of places in these conversations.
I got your video, though, Mac. I'm about to load it.
Yeah, this is his next joint that I want to pull up for the nice joint with him.
Nation of America, as well as other parts of the world, grew after the end of the Civil War. It was financed and managed by private corporations with corporate charters and financial backers. Let's get into one. This society was found in London with paid up capital of $10 million, divided into 20,000 shares of 500 British pounds apiece. The Baron von Hirsch was
in the late 1890s, he passed on $150 million to his wife. To put that wealth in perspective, that amount of money today growing at 7% annually would be worth $706,420,000,000 today. The association is formed in London by Baron von Hirsch with, I quote, to assist and promote the emigration of certain people from any parts of Europe or Asia in order to establish colonies for agricultural, commercial, and other purposes. Who are these certain people? These were the victims, mostly peasants, of the Russian wars against internal in Poland and also within its own country, as well as all the way across to the Caucasus region above Turkey. They were driving various tribes of people, mostly light-skinned, out of these areas. These corporations then were finding them, shipping them to other parts of the world. The corporate charter continues with more details. To establish settlements in any territories or lands except Europe, or in which the company is interested to develop, and they will do this by clearing, draining, fencing, planting, and otherwise. To construct and establish the maintenance and development of all such roadways, tramways, railways, bridges, harbors, reservoir, watercourses, wharves, embankments, on and on and on. Basically, the authority to construct villages and small cities. The corporate money would also be used to establish immigration agencies in various parts of Europe and Asia in order to construct, hire, charter, and equip steamships for the transport of colonists. Now, lest you think these corporations are doing this free to the settlers, the poor people that they're rescuing, it even says in the charter to make them pecuniary advances for building, farming, and other purposes. Advances. In other words, they're putting them in debt. So they're going to have to work off that debt one way or the other. Quoting here from a report by a Treasury Department investigator to the United States Congress. At this time, the United States has no peer on earth. At this rate, we're observing from Europe 750,000 people annually. The report goes on to say the organizations above referred to have agents in all the principal cities. Advertisements that, for example, show the Great Northwest in Manitoba and state that there are 200 million acres of land that are being granted free to settlers of the age of 18 or over, and they are entitled to 160 acres each. So these colonization corporations have their agents in all these major cities around Russia and Germany and in the Ottoman Empire, where they know all these destitute, poor people getting driven out of their villages, bombarded by the Russians, going on by this point for like 40 years, okay? This is an onslaught, financed by the same people that are in the same circles as Baron Hirsch. Here are detailed descriptions of colonies created by this corporation. It's interesting to me that they located them where the Crusaders fought back in the medieval times. This particular corporation located a ton of settlements right where you have most of these trade routes converging in Asia at the southeastern part of the Mediterranean Sea. The colony of Ekron was founded in 1884 on 1,000 acres, and there are about 250 inhabitants. The people are engaged in vine and silk culture. The colony of Katra, established in 1884 by Russian students on 900 acres with 100 inhabitants, a fourth of the land given over to wheat culture. On balance, there are 200,000 vines. The colony of Artif was originally a missionary established. It cost enormous sums of money, but was bailed out and has been transformed into a village. The colony of Castine originally belonged to Bessarabian Jews. The area of land is about 1,200 acres, and there are 100 souls on this colony. The colony of Wa'id el Shanin is 5 miles south of Rishon LeZion. It has 150,000 vines on 400 acres. The colony of Rekovath was founded in 1890 by a colonization society of Warsaw. The colony of Petach Tikva, the largest of the colonies in this region, was founded in 1878. The colony of Zikron Jacob is the largest of all the colonies in the area. The extent is about 5,000 acres with a population of 2,000, found in 1882 by Romanians. The colony has a beautiful park and everything that goes to make an up-to-date village. But the most beautifully situated colony is that of the Rosh Pinah, north of Lake Tiberias, found in 1882. There are 60 houses in the colony, each with a flower garden in the front and a vegetable garden in the rear. 3 perennial springs supply the colonists with an abundance of water. So as you can see, this particular colonization corporation had a specific focus in a region of the world, here and also well as Argentina. In another video, I'll give you detailed examples of that. So these colonization societies and corporations, they're just an updated model on an old business model. America, all the colonies were each established by corporations chartered by royal governments. What makes this more modern approach different is that at this point, wealthy private individuals and groups of people are simply banding together and creating their charters and organizations, really at this point with very little interference or oversight from any type of crowns or governments. This is why after the Civil War, you're seeing 500,000 people a year dumped into the United States until about 1920. And then a whole bunch are getting pushed over into modern Turkey, Syria, and also Argentina. I hope you found this interesting. I will be doing videos on other colonization companies to show you how this was a very routine approach by these capitalist financial elite. The ones that took over the United States after the Civil War, they are tied into the same group I'm talking about here. And some history out.
So Travis, walk us through this. What took you down this line of studying?
Right. So yes, it's basically the fact is they established more colonies in the 1800s than they did before the 1800s, right here in the United States. And the colonization actually continues after the Civil War. And what you literally have is corporation after corporation issuing shares to stockholders. They're all wealthy, dynastic wealth from Europe. That's who provides the money. And basically, they work with the United States government. After it displaces Indians, they do basically land sales in the form of a lottery. These guys got a bunch of capital. It's just like a modern investment banking syndicate. They get a bunch of money, and they go buy up all the companies in an industry or something like that. Well, here there's like 6 major corporations that got most of the land in Texas. All right. And it's all really right in front of you. And they literally will say stuff like, now that we've gotten rid of slavery with the Civil War, now we can flood ourselves with cheap white labor from Europe and really do this thing. And it's right in their charters. Like, now's the time, boys, like strike while the iron's hot, you know? So that's what goes on. And yeah, it ties to the Anglo-Saxon because these financiers are coming out of Austria and Germany. And they're also the guys that finance. It's their group of people that led all that money to the Union to win the Civil War for the North. Right. And now the United States, or whatever exists of it at that point, however you want to phrase it, has a big debt to pay. The debt equals about 1 year's salary of the average person in the United States per person. It's a bigger debt. They spent more money to win that war than we spent. The United States has spent total in 20 years in Afghanistan and Iraq. We're talking 3 or 4 times the amount of equivalent dollars to win that Civil War. So if you're trying to figure out how big of a deal that Civil War was, that should give you a sense of how big of a deal it was. So these guys loan the money. Well, you know how that works. You know, if you loan the money, you're in charge, right? So this is a bunch of German, Prussian, white people really come into the country. And you see that in the Midwest. They take over the Midwest. Okay. They're coming down south. They're your sheriffs. They're your, they're doing the dirty work. They don't give a flip about some Indian Well, they're not even thinking that these are the guys being told you're all from Africa. So now you can really wail on them, So that's really the idea. And you see it in their facial features, So they're bringing them all over, and they're all Protestant, right? They're not bringing over any white Catholics. These are all Protestants, and they're all, while they're missionizing the freedmen. They're missionizing these white guys to get them programmed to do the work that they want them to do. Includes, KKK stuff, libraries. Yeah, that wasn't going on before the Civil War.
Correct.
That all happened after the Civil War.
White supremacy was created. Correct.
Yes, part. And that's also what we talked about with you, with all the trust and everything. And again, I mean, tonight, I just wanted to, sorry for y'all, the interruption with the Wi-Fi. But I want to do a part 2 to this right here with you.
But I didn't quite answer your question because I do want to tie it, and I know it's another topic, but these are the same guys. So what I'm showing you with that video is while they're colonizing the United States after the Civil War, the same group of money bags through the Jewish Colonization Agency, which is what the J Association is under Baron von Hertz, is colonizing what? Israel.
Yeah.
Argentina.
Well, hey, I'm gonna do another part with you. Can we do this again? Because I want to add some more. See, I'm glad to be here now, though. Everybody got this part 1. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Travis, you down?
Yeah. So that's listen, just one more thing on it. It just shows how much they've moved everybody around. Like that right there just shows they're kicking them out of their, what we think of nowadays, Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, Romania, Russia. They're just, man, then they're sending them over to what we think of now as Turkey and Syria and the Middle East. And then from there, a lot of them, they're like, you know what, we need you in America. So then about half the immigrants that come into America, they don't come through Ellis Island. They come through Galveston, Texas, which they call the Ellis Island South. And that is a bunch of Russian and Bulgarian and Czech people. And they all think that they're either Anglo-Saxon, because that's like the myth right now. You're an Anglo-Saxon now. Or they think they're German, because that's a good fallback to be German.
That's the story being assigned to the docs.
Yeah, and then the other 8 million are Irish. And but of course, why are the Irish coming over? Well, they're starving them out in the 18th century. So that, whatever. That's great people. Great situation they're all in, right?
Hey, you know what's crazy? Because when it comes down to after the Civil War, the first census, and actually Blumenbach, Johann Blumenbach, he set the pace for it, but it became initiated in our system of government 1870.
That's
with the first census for the word Caucasian.
Blumenbach, yeah, I mean, guys, they
think about it. Like, look, the race category, right? See, there was already all this immigration stuff is happening before Blumenbach. Everything you was reading about was happening during the time frame of Cromwell and all that, and way before Blumenbach even came about, which is before, we were just talking about this last week with the DNA thing, see, 1775. So in 1775, we know that Blumenbach came up with the race theory. And before that time, there was no race theory. So all these national groups of people, white, black, whatever, are not going by these race theories at all at that time frame in the beginning of the forming of United States of America. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and how could you force it on? It's a majority swarthy country.
Yeah,
they gotta wait till they get everything in position.
Get the numbers up.
Civil War, and then they roll it out. They're like, yeah, baby, we've been waiting a century for this. Here we go.
So Caucasian comes into place in 1870 on the census record.
Yeah,
so they use that same political thing in America to divide and make this elite class that you're talking about tied to these trusts.
Hey, so here's the how, though, Mac.
I'm gonna hold them on because we're going to do a part 2. I ain't gonna hold them on.
Hey, I'm gonna hit them with this one last thing. Okay. So everything y'all been hitting them with the historical narrative of how this happened, but what we're missing also is at this time frame, a very important invention was created: the steam engine on these ships.
Big time.
So now you can bring way more people over at once than any other time in history.
Now you can bring 1,000 or 2,000 at a time instead of 2. It was always like a max
correct
sailing. It was like 50 because they needed food and supplies, guys. Like the first 100 years, especially, man, they were mating with the Indians, enslaving and hostage their kids to do all the work, and then bringing supplies from Europe. They weren't bringing people much at all.
They couldn't.
They couldn't. These guys are experts, man. They're knights. I'm telling you, these are knights, and they've been. This is
knights.
That's why it's so systematic.
Yep.
Hey, Benjamin Franklin. I mean, Benjamin Franklin, Anglo-Saxon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Benjamin Franklin saying he's an Anglo-Saxon?
I mean,
Somebody, Sarah Thornton just said this. She brought up Benjamin Franklin again.
Look, see that shit. Look at that.
We were just talking about it earlier.
Hey, Benjamin Franklin, shout out to Lee. Benjamin Franklin, 1752. Is he not before 1752 a Grand Master Mason in Philadelphia?
Right.
Is he not?
That whole Philadelphia thing is, there's a lot more's going on in Philly than going on in DC. Or I mean, Philly.
Come on,
yeah.
Philly's
DC
a hot
nothing at this time. Yeah.
Listen, he said them swarthy folk were coming in, and he even delineated like how people folk today in immigration say, "Oh, we don't want them people coming into America." He was saying that at that time about the German people coming in. He was like,
about the Germans.
Hey, them German people, they gonna change everything.
And they were coming from Saxony. So, all right, now I'm really confused about white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. It's like everything with these guys, you just got to read it in reverse. So as soon as they're like, the nation was founded by white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, it was actually founded by swarthy Catholic Indians who are called
mixture. A mixture. Because, hey, them Puritans, I wanted to open the door, we're going to slide on this. Them Puritans, also known as Protestant in different denominations underneath what they call Christianity. Right, today. The influence that we're finding of this historical layout
is huge.
It's huge because it shows
it's the architecture that we live in. Like
man.
That's the setup, right?
It's a whole it's a dive that we really gotta actually really explore and be honest about it. Is it true? What parts are true? What parts are not? And we have to kind of get into details of why and who and who's saying what and why, and understand where they're coming from, being why they're saying what they're coming from when it comes to these kind of conversations. So I'm gonna land it on that because
why are they saying?
But I ain't gonna. I'm gonna hold y'all for next week Sunday. We see y'all. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Travis, go ahead and finish your thought, and then I want you to. We talked about it earlier, but I want you to plug. Let them know your TikTok again and your website. But go ahead and finish your thought.
I mean, my main thing is just to say that there's an architecture to all of this. And I feel like it really got finally in place after the Civil War, after Reconstruction, guys. It took 20 years, really. So that's what we're kind of living in now. Have there been changes? Yeah, but we're pretty much in that system that they finally got to get it all their way, because they had to get the Indians out of the Southeast. They had to dislodge them, get them out of the way, flood it with people that were going to be loyal to this program, which they did. And you know what we're talking about, those robotic white guys from the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like,
the archetype.
Soul, right?
Yeah.
Who are these guys? I don't know, maybe they're guys? Whatever it is. Yeah, so it's real, man. Like, it's real stuff, and it was part of a strategy. This isn't happenstance and randomness. This is 100-year plans and stuff, and yeah, and so that's it. And I think that there's another great myth.
Hey, them Puritans, I'm telling y'all, I got something for y'all. Them Puritans. Hey,
we'll dive on, man. I'll do that. I've already did. I mean, it's a big humiliation ritual. In New England, you had to have money to be a full member. You had to buy a share of the church. What a religion! What a great religion!
Right.
Hey, a lot like Jesus, right?
Right.
Hey, Cromwell and them were playing those games when they said, hey, we had to make a shift. We got to get from these folk right here, these Roman Catholic folk. And guess what? Anybody else coming in now, you got to come in underneath our ideal to this, or we got problems with you.
Or you can't stay.
We showed you what we're doing. We showed you what we would do to you. We showed you the numbers. You seen the numbers?
Right, yeah. This is it. You guys won't get with the program. There's a whole history there, right? The state, they didn't pay their debts. Like, dude, there's a whole bunch going on where they're like, we're finishing this game. We're finishing it.
Let's go. Next one.
Hey, so Travis, leave us off. Let them plug your TikTok and your website, bro.
Yeah, guys, check me out. Forensic History Academy on TikTok, YouTube, and online. You can subscribe for free right now and get access to a lot of deep dive documents. And then I'll be starting to build videos. And the idea behind it will be quite a big catalog at different levels of information expertise. And then I'm going to put together training courses. People can almost like pretty much get a little certification that shows they really understand how to assess a book and look at, what are the things to consider. It's like I tell, history's a crime scene, so approach it accordingly, right? What are you looking for? What are the clues that, how to put things in context and draw deductions? Because we're not in a situation where they're ever going to show us all the information. So I'm kind of, you only need to get so many sources. Once it's clear what the system is, processes are, screw all that, man. If they want to talk sources, well, let me go into the Vanderbilt mansion in Asheville, North Carolina, and look at all the shit they got in the.
Yeah.
Let me go into this. Somebody send a Vanguard into the Smithsonian, and let's all take a look at all the sources and have a little shish kebab and barbecue and chop it up. Right?
Yep.
That ain't gonna happen.
That would be nice. I like that.
We would love it, but we know that's not happening.
Right. So let's feel right.
So
I'm just trying to approach all this in a really real way, and not get caught up in the system. Because to your point about the system, the architecture, the scholarly system, the academic system is very biased towards having all the sources and all this. Yeah. Well, who wrote the sources and what all the sources you're not showing us? So you got to get off that game, because you're never going to win. You see, those rules are set up for them.
For exclusion.
So you got to go with the deductive reasoning, the Sherlock Holmes, the blood splatter analyst approach, the CSI Miami approach. And you got to work with theories of a case in high probabilities, or you're just going to sit there and be arguing about, do you have I saw this source and you saw that source.
Yeah, source battling is crazy.
As we've demonstrated, these sources can be completely making stuff up and completely giving you the upside down of what really went on. So,
that's real.
That's real. Hey, so that's a great way to end it off. So with that,
yeah.
Hey, appreciate you as always, Travis. You much requested, so we're gonna have to set up a part 2. And shout out to everybody out there. We got a lot of people tuned in to this. The best thing y'all can do to help us out is like this video, subscribe to our channel, go follow Travis on TikTok, follow us on TikTok, support the people that are giving out the information. And if we have some type of business model behind it, support that too, because it take money to move the mission. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, Marana, the harsh reality is live life autonomously. You heard me? Travis, I appreciate you. It's the third time, so after the third time we in, you know what I mean? You invite me to barbecue. Hey,
yeah.
You need to have a barbecue at the Smithsonian.
Barbecue.
Yeah.
I read
a fish fry.
Fish fry. I don't know. Whatever we gonna do, we need to do it at the Smithsonian, though.
Or on a mound.
There you go. We do it big. Yeah. I like it.
I think that'd be good. I mean, hey, we're just here having a barbecue, boss.
There it is. There it is. Hey, so
we're not saying
y'all have a good one. Peace to you, Travis.
Take care, everybody.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Stand on the map, right?
Yeah. Purpose got a price. Ain't no way around it.
We gotta fund the vision.
Fund the vision.
Run the vision.
Fund the vision. Dreams don't move till the people grounded.
Fund the vision. Fund the vision.
They say love your people, but love needs tools. Power needs resources. That's the first rule. We ain't chasing silver, we chasing solutions. We need capital to break these old institutions.
Break those chains.
Break those chains.
For the mission, heart stay pure while the grind stay driven.
For the mission,
oh,
don't grow without a little provision. Money for the mission.
Money for the mission.
We pray hard on Sunday, but Monday's real. Bills hit deeper when you you're fighting to heal. If the system is crooked, we still gotta move. Stack for the fam, keep the block improved.
Keep the block improved.
Yeah.
Keep the block improved.
Oh, yeah.
Block improved.
Yes, faith is fire, but the work needs wood. Purpose grows strong when the funding's good. We raise the money
For the generation.
we build the budget
For the restoration.
we plan together.
No tribe left behind.
We feed the future.
The liberated mind.
We need money for the mission.
Money for the mission.
Freedom takes funding and strategic position. We need money for the mission.
Money for the mission. Every dollar righteous, every plan with wisdom. Money for the mission. Money for the mission. We build for the children. We build for the kingdom. Money for the mission. Money for the mission. Money for the mission. Money for the
Keep the vision, keep the vision, build the vision.
Money for the mission. Money for the mission. Money for the mission.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pair of races? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Estelusti. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces, the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy, I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.
Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody that's tapped in with us. The Autonomous Party. Monte.
What's up, homeboy, with the news, man?
Yes, right.
Peace to the party.
It's your boy Mac Gaither, as you know, founder, the Autonomous Party. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. That's why we want you to tap in with us. As we start this network vibe that we building out, you know what I'm saying? We want you to tap in, subscribe, check us out on, obviously, YouTube. Don't forget, we're on website, theautonomousparty.com, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Got to check out our website. Merch and stuff coming soon. We got some samples out there, but we're getting ready to go full launch with that too. The Patreon, when you go to Maroonville, if you don't know, it's like our virtual city type vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We try to do like the village, you hear me? So pull up to Maroonville and you'll see us do different things using that brand underneath the Autonomous Party, you heard me? So shout out to all them American Maroons out there, Estelusti, all my Gullah folk out there, all my indigenous people out there. You know what I mean? What they call black natives.
Oh, yeah.
Of America. You heard me? So
yeah.
Tap in with us.
That's what it is, man. Hey, make sure you always keep up to date with the news. We got a lot of new programming coming for y'all. Appreciate all the support, man. Peace to the party.
On the other side of this, too, is we've been trying to address certain things in our community, and this is why we have these different plugs in for conversations and dialogue, so we can open it up for everybody to tap in, and you give us your feedback. So your feedback matters, you know what I'm saying, and what we do. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure we keep it genuine with y'all, that we want y'all feedback from all the different communities that's tapped in, that understand that they relate to the ideal of being autonomous, self-governing. We got to get back to that on a village and on a community on a national level. So that's why the whole brand is really about being autonomous, no matter if you subscribe to different identities underneath being an American or labeled Black in America. This is the maroon side of it. So we're giving it to you this way, raw, uncut.
And I would say, just to add, a lot of people think we're not trying to ruffle no feathers, bro. We're not trying to antagonize people when we make sure we come and share the version of history that we've researched and provide sources for. Is really to build. You know what I'm saying? So now we are, in the effort to do that, we are expanding our outreach. You know what I'm saying, Mac?
Definitely.
Like we want this to be for everybody to take on the message and challenge us if you feel like we've said something wrong, but come with your sources and we all come with respect, and we can do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's really all I got on it, man.
Yeah, man. Just so you know what I mean, we always transparent. That's why we do these things like this. And when you get this clip, we hope you, again, share it out to the community, tap in with us. We're on all social platforms. You can find us. Basically, you can see us everywhere.
We got YouTube.
YouTube.
Sure. Yeah. TikTok.
Yeah.
X.
Mm-hmm. News.
Right.
You heard me? That's our news, like all the clips and stuff, information. If you want to read and you like to read, we drop a lot of information on X that you could read from the source standpoint of our builds, actually. You know what I mean? And crazy enough, you'll see so much stuff on there. You'll be like, which video or what it come from? There's a lot of content there. So we would like for you to go, if you like to read, you know what I mean? There's clips there. And obviously the exclusive stuff is going to be on Patreon.
Right.
So our Patreon is set
Subscribe
up.
to Patreon to them.
So Patreon is set up to where we're going to be doing our classes from there, programs from there, obviously the social things that we have going on exclusively for those who subscribe. They'll have access to being able to tap in with us that way. And then at the same time, we're looking to, expand that community. That's why we call it Maroonville. Even though it's our social club, it's called the Autonomous Party Social Club. The Maroonville is literally the vibe for the social standpoint of a village community type of vibe. So all the different things that happens in the community, we're doing it on our Patreon. You hear me? So definitely subscribe to that. I mean, you could, for free, subscribe to it. You can support. We got different tiers. Right now, we got a $5 tier. We got Sunday service tier, Maroonville, Sunday service. And for my, for the ministry side even, our social members on the ministry strike, that's right, the Autonomous Party Ecclesia, the Assembly, you heard? We do have the ministry set up. You know what I mean? That's what we did this year. Take the time to set up that side of the party. And now that's why we're coming back to this media side to give you that vibe, content-wise, on a network level. You feel what I'm saying? So these different exclusive things you're going to see us doing, interviews, etc., and obviously different network of people that we're going to be tapping into that's going to be bringing content to our platform for y'all to take in and, again, be autonomous with it. Do what's the best for you and yours. You heard me? So, again, it's your boy Mac Aether. You heard me? The harsh reality is live life autonomously. That's the campaign, and the party is the Autonomous Party. You heard me? So tap in.